Chapter 2101 Rapid Progress. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The original Jodian map contains 365 extreme extremes, and its origin is very mysterious. It has been auctioned and even caused a war. However, in the end there was no news. And the inscription technique that contains the 365 extreme poles seems to be only the original Jodian map. Because the most powerful inscription technique of Wukong Tianmen is only the emptiness map, which contains 72 kinds of extreme extremes. It can form the original ancestral body of the ghost, and the combat power will be very terrifying. And the most powerful inscription technique of the 5th layer Holy Gate only involves 108 extreme extremes. I didn't expect the original Zhou Tiantu to be so powerful, and none of the 5 holy gates of the upper spirit realm have such an inscription technique. Yi Tian was surprised. Of course, since the original Zhou Tiantu appeared in the upper spirit realm, there may also be an inheritance here, but it is unknown which 5th layer holy gate is in the hands. However, for many ancestors, the original Jodian map is of little value, and it is not as good as the 9-star map. Because this systemic inscription technique, if not fully practiced, cannot condense the body of the powerful ancestor, just like the 9-star map, after the 9 extreme poles are inscribed, the body of the ancestor of the 9-star can be condensed. As for the original Jodian map, even if 300 black characters were inscribed, it still could not form a powerful original ancestor. If you can only comprehend the 9 extreme extremes, then cultivating the original Jodian map is really not as good as the 9-star map. Because of this, many primitive ancestors did not desire those awesome inscription techniques. For many primitive ancestors, it is very good to join a quadruple heaven gate like Wukong Tianmen to obtain the inheritance of the 9-star map. For me, the original Jodian map is the most suitable. I originally thought that there was a more powerful inscription technique in the original area of Shangling, but now it seems that the original Jodian map is more powerful, then continue to comprehend the original Jodian map. Yi Tian decided. In the following days, Yi Tian practiced at Wukong Tianmen. As a core disciple, he also has the treatment of Daozi. He has a lot of contribution points. Even if he does not do tasks, he can meet his own cultivation needs. Moreover, he can also comprehend the extreme path monument. The Jidao tablet in Shangling Yuanyuan is much better than the Jidao tablet in Jejia, and it is even valuable to the original ancestor. What is even more exaggerated is that there are tens of thousands of poles in Wukong Tianmen, all kinds of poles, even karma poles. Therefore, it is not a problem to comprehend the causal extreme path monument here, and it is not a problem to comprehend the causal extreme path and cultivate it to the perfect state. Many of the original ancestors of Wukong Tianmen have cultivated the extreme path of karma to the perfect state, but if they want to cultivate the extreme path of cause and effect to the extreme state, the extreme path monument is useless. It's great to join Wukong Tianmen. Not only can I copy a lot of extremist ancestral inscriptions here, but I can also comprehend other extremities to reach the perfect state. Yi Tian said excitedly. Afterwards, Yi Tian kept swaying in the Wukong Tianmen, made friends with many ancestors, and secretly copied many of the original ancestors' extreme ancestors. With the passage of time, Yi Tian has more and more extreme ancestors, and many of them have also cultivated to the perfect state. Originally, Yi Tian also comprehended more than 100 kinds of the ultimate realm of perfection, but now every few years, he can comprehend one of the ultimate realms to the perfection realm. 200 perfection poles. 300 perfection poles. 400 perfection poles. The number of perfection poles is increasing, although it is impossible to improve the strength, but its own background is strengthening, and as these poles are completed one by one, the endless poles are getting stronger and stronger. In addition, Yi Tian used the resources and treasures of Wukong Tianmen to continuously improve his own will, which led to the increase in the number of layers of the will pagoda and the improvement of his cultivation. 30-story will pagoda. 31st will pagoda. After hundreds of billions of eternal era, Yi Tian's will pagoda was raised to the 33rd floor, and then he inscribed several black characters, and all the 33rd floor will pagoda was inscribed with black characters. It's too difficult to improve the will of the extreme way. My original Jodian map involves 365 extreme ways, and it is necessary to condense 365 layers of will pagodas to engrave all the black words of the original Jodian map. It is really not too difficult for me to comprehend the 365 extremes. But it is difficult to raise the pagoda of will to the 365 floors. Yi Tian frowned. Moreover, he has understood that once he breaks through to become the quadruple ancestor, there is no way to continue to engrave the ultimate pole on the pagoda of will, and even the number of layers of the pagoda of will cannot be increased. At that time, the will pagoda can continue to increase its power, but the number of layers is fixed. Therefore, if you want to practice the inscription technique and improve the level of the will pagoda, you can only do it in the triple ancestor. This is also the reason why the 5th level Holy Gate only recruits the 3-level original ancestor, because the 3-level original ancestor still has plasticity, and the 4th level original ancestor has no plasticity. Perhaps there are treasures in the world that can increase the number of layers of the 4-fold original ancestor's will pagoda, but that kind of treasure is afraid that even the 5th layer ancestor will have to fight hard to snatch it. Therefore, don't expect to continue to increase the level of the will pagoda after breaking through the 4-layer original ancestor, and don't think about continuing to inscribe the ultimate pole, neither of which can be achieved. Still have to find a way to obtain a treasure that can greatly enhance the will of the extreme way, otherwise, if you stay at the Wukong Tianmen all the time, there is no way to obtain such a good thing. Yi Tian murmured. Of course, he can wait to enter the Void Fang Holy Gate, and maybe he can obtain such a treasure. However, the next time the Holy Sect of Void Fang will recruit members will be after the 8 million yuan era, and the 8 million yuan era is equivalent to the 8 trillion eternity era of Jia Jia. The promise is good, this time is too long, he doesn't want to wait like this, so he should think of a way first. Yi Tian kept checking the information and found a treasure that was most suitable for the triple primordial ancestor to enhance the will of the extreme way, the holy fruit of the original spirit. This thing is very valuable, and once it appears, it is enough to make the 3-level ancestors fight, and even the 4-level ancestors need such treasures. In the Wukong Tianmen, the original spirit holy fruit cannot be exchanged at all. However, Yi Tian finally got a message on this day. The false god realm is about to open. This is a small domain, but it is a special small domain with extremely rich resources. It is sealed by the 5 holy gates and will only be opened once at a certain time. And this time, both the 4th level Heaven Gate and the 5th level Holy Gate can send the 3-level original ancestor into them. In the false god realm, there is the holy fruit of the original spirit. After getting the news, Yi Tian immediately applied to enter the false god realm. Chapter 2102 Create original control skills. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. However, if you want to enter the false god realm, it is not easy to enter. The number of the triple primordial ancestors in any quadruple heaven gate is very exaggerated, and it is impossible for so many triple primordial ancestors to enter. Therefore, without a certain strength, even if you apply to enter the false god realm, you will not get approval. For example, Wukong Tianmen, the number of the 3 original ancestors alone is as many as hundreds of thousands, but in the end only 10,003 original ancestors are allowed to enter the false god realm. Although Yi Tian is a core disciple and has the treatment of Daozi, it is impossible for him to enter directly, otherwise the other 3-level ancestors of Wukong Tianmen will definitely not be happy. Therefore, Yi Tian had to pass the challenge to win 10,000 places to enter the false god realm. The challenge is very simple. It is divided into 2 parts. The first is to pass through the 7th floor of the Wukong Palace. Once you pass it, you are eligible to participate in the second challenge. The first floor of Wukong Hall represents the combat power of the 1st-level ancestors, the second layer of Wukong Palace represents the combat power of the top 1st-level ancestors, the third floor of Wukong Palace represents the combat power of the 2nd-level ancestors, the 4th layer represents the combat power of the top 2 primordial ancestors. The 5th floor to the 10th floor of Wukong Hall all represent the combat power of the 09 3-level ancestor. If he can pass the 11th floor, it means that he has the weaker combat power of the 4th-level ancestor. Yi Tian immediately went to participate in the assessment of Wukong Temple. In fact, when he wanted to join Wukong Tianmen, he needed to participate in this assessment, but because his talent was too evil, he was directly cancelled this assessment. The 7th floor of Wukong Hall. Yi Tian came here, and an opponent appeared. Yi Tian directly smashed the opponent with 1 blow and completed the assessment. He did not continue to challenge the 8th floor of the Wukong Hall, so there was no need to break through the 7th floor. After a period of time, the Void Hall challenge assessment was over. There are more than 30,000 triple primitive ancestors who have passed through the 7th floor of the Wukong Hall. 1. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Although he killed the opponent on the 7th floor of the Wukong Palace in 1 blow, this does not mean that the opponent on the 7th floor of the Wukong Palace is weak. If the Lord of Wuji is invited to participate in such a challenge, he will not be able to pass the challenge at all, and may even be the first can't get past the 6th floor. I have to say that the 3 ancestors of Wukong Tianmen are very powerful. Wukong Tianmen, in a CJFJ Majestic Hall. A dozen or so ancestors discussed the opening of the false god realm here, and after discussing for a while, they talked about Yi Tian. This time, the endless ancestor who has newly joined our Wukong Tianmen will also enter the false god realm. 1. Yes, I looked at the list, and it's no problem to get a place with his strength, but his cultivation is still far from the limit of the triple ancestor, that is, he has just broken through the triple ancestor, the only advantage it is the limit of comprehension. In this way, the combat power is probably not strong. Compared with the general 3-layer ancestors, it must be crushed, but compared with the top 3-layer ancestors of the 5th layer Holy Gate, there is no advantage. Those top 3-layer ancestors, one by one has mastered powerful primordial control skills, and the endless primordial ancestor is afraid that he has not even mastered a primordial control technique. He can go if he wants. Anyway, it doesn't matter if the will clone is killed, let him experience it. In short, this is a good seedling. The holy sect of the Void Fang has already known his existence, but he has no plans to advance it. Recording, put it here first. The endless primitive ancestor doesn't need to worry about him, it will take a long time for him to grow up. Soon they were discussing other things. Not long after, the second examination began. More than 30,000 original ancestors competed for 10,000 places, and the competition was fierce, and it took time and again to get a place. And the place where the original ancestors fought this time is a world where the original ancestor of the fourfold original ancestor, the original ancestor of the illusion, was transformed by the ultimate illusion, really die. Otherwise, one assessment would have to scrap a will clone, and the price would be too great. Afterwards, Yi Tian participated in this challenge and fought against each original ancestor. He fought a total of 6 battles, and he won a place completely and steadily, and he did not need to continue to challenge later. The quota has been won. According to the time, there are still 5 Yuan eras, which is equivalent to the 500 million eternal eras of the world. Yi Tian murmured. This period of time is not short, so he is ready to cultivate and improve his strength. If you improve your cultivation, it will be too late, and you will not be able to improve your cultivation much at all. The fastest way to improve my strength is to create a primordial control technique. Those top triple primordial ancestors have mastered primal control techniques. If I don't master primal control techniques, even if I have comprehended so many extremes and engraved so much the extreme of the Tao, the combat power may not be as powerful as them. Yi Tian thought to himself. The power of the original control technique is related to the number of extreme poles contained in it, and most of the original control techniques created by the triple primitive ancestors almost start from the systematic inscription technique. For example, the inscription technique of the 9-star map, the triple primitive ancestor of Wukong Tianmen started from this inscription technique and created a primitive control technique based on the 9-star map. Different triple primordial ancestors naturally create different primal control skills. Yi Tian is also going to imitate this method, he is going to create the original control technique from the original Zhou map. Of course, at the beginning, he only created the weaker primitive control skills, which only contained 9 extremes. If there were too many extremes, it would take too much time. He has no time to create those kinds of extremes. Top original control skills. Time passed slowly, and Yi Tian began to silently comprehend creation based on the 9 black characters. If given such a short period of time to the other triple primordial ancestors, they would not be able to comprehend anything at all. However, Yi Tian has too many extremist ancestral talents, and has a lot of extremities that he has comprehended, and his talent is too enchanting. In addition, there is also a special time and space dedicated to supplying the original control skills of the triple primitive ancestors, and he can naturally enter in his identity. So, Yi Tian realized creation there. After 2 years of the original era, Yi Tian finally realized something. In a special time and space, Yi Tian finally succeeded in creating a primitive control technique. A black ray of light tore apart everything in front of it, and its power surpassed any of Yi Tian's previous methods. Primary control technique, primitive black light. Yi Tian muttered. After creating this original control technique, Yi Tian's strength can be said to have skyrocketed. After entering the false god realm this time, I am afraid that he will get a lot of good things. Chapter 2103 The first time I saw the original ancestor of the 5 layers. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. There are still 3 original eras left, Yi Tian still has to create a life-saving original control technique. Although his strength is very strong, there are definitely many more powerful 3-layer ancestors than him, and there are naturally more means to save his life. Otherwise, I would have encountered the kind that raised the cultivation base to the limit of the triple primordial ancestor, engraved 36 extreme extremes, formed a powerful primordial body, and created the top primal control skills. So many, he will definitely be killed by the other side. Therefore, adding more life-saving means is the kingly way. Time passed slowly, and in the blink of an eye, 3 more years of the original era passed. And during this period of time, Yi Tian finally created the second original control skill, which was the original control skill Juji Black Armor specially created for defense. Juji Black Armor involves the 9 extreme extremes of defense, the ultimate extreme of the 5 elements, the extreme extreme of time and space, and the extreme extreme of light. Juji Black Armor, which can cover the whole body, is enough to make his defense power skyrocket. The false god realm is about to open. Yi Tian's will clone set off and followed the large army of Wukong Tianmen to the false god realm. This time, he didn't dare to duplicate his body in the false god realm, otherwise, if he was discovered, with his current strength, he wouldn't be able to save his life. I just came to Shangling Yuan, and I haven't laid a solid foundation yet, and I don't have a backer, so it's better to keep a low profile, it's better. False God Realm. Outside this small area, the original ancestors of the 4th layer Heaven Gate and the 5th layer Holy Gate arrived here. So many ancestors, Yi Tian secretly said. Moreover, he also sensed the aura of many quadruple ancestors, each of which was extremely terrifying, and it was an existence that he could not imagine. Unexpected, one after another stalwart bodies appeared. The real body didn't seem to be here, just the projection came here, but the breath made the 3 ancestors tremble all over, and they didn't dare to look up at them, otherwise the time and space where they were all would be frozen, and their own hard to move. 5 ancestors, all the triple primitive ancestors secretly said in their hearts. Yi Tian also looked at these 5 ancestors, and this was the first time he saw the 5 ancestors. Yi Tian didn't know how the 4th level ancestor became the 5th level ancestor, but it was definitely very difficult, so countless forces wanted to become the 5th level ancestor, but the endless years passed, and the Shangling Yuan has only been 6 or 5. Heavy holy door. Moreover, the secret of how the 4th level original ancestor became the 5th level original ancestor has not been passed down so far. It is conceivable that the 5th level Holy Gate has a very strict control over the inheritance of knowledge in this regard. It is too difficult to become the original ancestor of the 4th layer to become the original ancestor of the 5th layer. I saw these 5 ancestors wave their hands, and portals emerged one after another, leading to the false god realm. Then, the phantoms of these 5 primordial ancestors dissipated. For them, it is just to open the false god realm from a distance, and naturally they will not pay attention to the follow-up things. Enter the false god realm, you will be excluded after 10 days of the original realm, and you can't come out earlier in the middle. The 4-level ancestors of Wukong Tianmen said. Immediately, one after another, the 3 original ancestors rushed into the false god realm. And Yi Tian also entered the false god realm. The void of the false god realm is no different from the outside world. After all, this is originally one of the countless small areas in the upper spirit realm, but because this area is special and the resources born are too rich, it was banned as one of the treasures. Find treasure. As soon as Yi Tian came in, he first covered his breath, and then slowly began to look for treasures. It must be said that the treasure resources here are very rich. Soon, Yi Tian found a treasure named Suyang Golden Spar. This treasure can temper the body of the original ancestor of the triple ancestor, and the value is very high. As time passed slowly, one treasure after another fell into Yi Tian's hands. But soon, he encountered other triple ancestors. That triple primordial ancestor sensed Yi Tian and did not choose to avoid it, and seeing that Yi Tian's cultivation base was very low, it was not long before he broke through the triple primordial ancestor. In terms of cultivation base, Yi Tian can only be regarded as the peak of the initial stage of the triple primitive ancestor, not even the middle stage. And this triple primitive ancestor was the powerhouse at the peak of the triple primordial ancestor, so he directly attacked Yi Tian. Yi Tian doesn't know the identity of this 3-layered ancestor, but if he dares to shoot at him, Yi Tian is naturally not polite and shoots with all his strength. Primary black light, Yi Tian hit him with all his strength. Boom! The original black light hit the body of the triple ancestor, directly shattering the layers of defenses on the opponent's body, directly piercing through the body of the opponent's original ancestor, and the body shattered to death. That's it. Yi Tian still thought that the opponent was so powerful, but it turned out to be so weak. How dare he shoot at him? For flowers. 4 heavenly gates. Julie Heavenly Gate. The real body of the original ancestor of Feng Yu opened his eyes, and his face showed shock. I was instantly killed by a guy from the early stage of the triple primitive. He believes that his strength is not weak, and he is very cautious. This time, he is picking soft persimmons. Seeing that Yi Tian is only in the early stage of the third-level ancestor, it is obviously not long before he breaks through to the third-level ancestor. Moreover, he came here with his cultivation base in the early stage of the three-layer primordial ancestor, and he should be the three-layer primordial ancestor among the weaker four-layer Tianmen. As a result, the opponent actually created the original control technique, which instantly killed him with a single blow. It's really unfortunate that a monster has arrived. The original ancestor of Feng Yu said helplessly. 0. Time passed slowly. When Yi Tian was searching for treasures, he also encountered many triple ancestors. Moreover, he constantly senses the surroundings with his copying talent. If he senses the terrifying power of the three-layered ancestor, he will flee directly without meeting the opponent. Therefore, from the beginning to the end, he did not encounter a too powerful triple primitive ancestor. I just found 3 original spirit holy fruits, and 2 of them were obtained from other 3-level ancestors. It seems that even if it is a virtual god's realm, it is not easy to obtain the original spirit holy fruit. 1 inch. Yi Tian muttered. However, it is still early. 10 UNU days is not a short period of time, but an incomparably long period of time, enough for Yi Tian to find many treasures. Boom. In the distance, fighting broke out. Yi Tian spied that the 2 tertiary primordial ancestors were fighting, and these 2 tertiary primordial ancestors were very terrifying, and they showed the incomparably terrifying primordial ancestors one after another. 72 extreme poles. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Obviously, these 2 should be the holy sons of the 5th layer holy gate, otherwise it is impossible to have such a terrifying background. After all, the 4th heavenly sect cannot cultivate such a monster. Moreover, their shots are all primitive control skills, and the combat effectiveness is terrible. Walk. Yi Tian didn't watch the battle here, and just fled away, otherwise, if it was affected, he would still be unable to compete with his current strength. After I go out this time, I will have a good retreat before I can hope to compete with the top 3 ancestors of these 5 holy gates. Chapter 2104 Huge Harvest. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. There are too many powerful triple ancestors. 1. Yi Tian muttered. Along the way, he sensed a lot of the top 3-level ancestors who were even more terrifying than him. They mastered dozens of extremes, and they should all be the genius ancestors of the 5th-level Holy Gate. These triple primordial ancestors have long been able to achieve quadruple primordial ancestors, so they deliberately dragged on not to attack, but wanted to break through to quadruple primordial ancestors with a more perfect foundation potential. But in fact, in terms of status, they are higher than many quadruple ancestors of those quadruple heaven gates. Once they break through to the 4th ancestor, their strength will instantly crush many quadruple ancestors. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to break through to the 3rd-level ancestor, and even the fraction of their cultivation years was incomparable. Therefore, Yi Tian was also not hit. It's easy to outrun them, just give them time. Time passed slowly, and, 093, passed the original days one after another. 18 primordial spirit sacred fruits, plus other treasures that help improve the will of the extreme way, can definitely make my will of the extreme way skyrocket a lot. Yi Tian murmured. However, it is absolutely impossible to condense the pagoda of will to the 365 layers only by relying on these original spirit holy fruits. However, this time the harvest can condense more layers of the will pagoda, that is also satisfied. Soon, the last 10th of the original day was left. At this time, the resources of the false god realm were almost wiped out. Today, the entire false god realm is full of fights. After all, killing a triple primitive ancestor at this time can get the other party's massive resources. Therefore, killing people and grabbing treasures is the fastest way to accumulate resources. And Yi Tian's cultivation base is very low, and he is only in the early stage of the triple primitive ancestor, so he was quickly targeted. No, a powerhouse at the peak of the triple original ancestor stared at Yi Tian, but Yi Tian also stared at the other party. Boom. The 2 shot at the same time. Yi Tian instantly killed each other, seized the treasure on the other side, and fled directly. This guy is unlucky, he has a lot more resources than me. It seems that he killed a lot of the original ancestors, but now it's cheaper for me. Yi Tian didn't have time to sort out the other party's harvest slowly, so he would sort it out slowly after going out. Soon, Yi Tian killed several triple primordial ancestors and gained more and more. Unexpected, Yi Tian found that he was locked, and a triple primitive ancestor shot an arrow from a very far place. This arrow contains a powerful primordial control skill, and an arrow comes through endless time and space. 9 Extreme Black Armor. Yi Tian made every effort to activate this primitive control skill, and all the life-saving extreme ancestral gifts and countless perfect ancestral gifts were all activated. Puff! The arrow pierced through Yi Tian's body, but Yi Tian escaped in time, and then used the extreme karma to cut off many causes and effects instantly, making the enemy unable to track him. Far away, a young man covered in blood red put away the bow and arrow of the divine weapon, and frowned. A guy from the early stage of the triple ancestor actually blocked me and didn't die, how is this possible? However, at this time, it was too late for him to hunt down Yi Tian again. Forget it, let's kill the other triple ancestors. The youth escaped. That guy is really powerful, the power of this arrow is more than 1,000 times more than mine. Fortunately I have many means to save my life, otherwise I would really be killed by the opponent's arrow. Yi Tian murmured. He remembered the other party, and he will definitely have to find his way back in the future. The original ancestor of the Blood Shadow, the next time we meet, I will kill you. Yi Tian's injury recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye, and after a while, the injury completely recovered. Next, Yi Tian cautiously killed some of the 3-layered ancestors, and finally waited until the false god realm was closed. A large number of triple primitive ancestors were excluded from the false god realm. Looking at the many 4-level ancestors, nearly 80% of the 3-level ancestors fell into the false god realm. Fortunately, they were clones of the will, otherwise the major forces would feel distressed. The endless ancestor came out alive. The 4 ancestors of Wukong Tianmen were a little surprised. After all, in their opinion, Yi Tian has a high potential, but his potential has not been converted into strength, and he actually survived in the false god realm. Good luck, these 4 ancestors secretly said. Apart from being lucky, they couldn't think of a reason why Yi Tian could survive. Soon, many of the 3 original ancestors returned to their forces one by one. After Yi Tian returned to Wukong Tianmen, he immediately announced the closure. Let's organize resources first. 1. Yi Tian took out a large number of resource treasures and sorted them out. Among them, there are so many extreme Taoist monuments, and he does not know how many treasures contain extreme Taoism. It can be said that Yi Tian will not be short of treasures in the future when he comprehends other extremes. And Yi Tian most wanted to get more than 1,000 pieces of the original spirit holy fruit, because one of the 3 original ancestors actually collected hundreds, which made him extremely surprised. Ha ha ha, that triple primordial ancestor is probably dying of anger now. Yi Tian said with a smile. It took a while for Yi Tian to organize all the resources. It can be said that these things he could not have imagined in the past. Let's improve the will of the extreme way first. Only when the will of the extreme way is improved can you condense more layers of the will pagoda. Immediately, Yi Tian began to continuously devour some treasures that could enhance the will of the extreme way, as for the original spirit holy fruit to be slowly refined in the future. Time passed slowly, Yi Tian's extreme will continued to improve, and the layers of the will pagoda also continued to condense. 34-story will pagoda. 35-story will pagoda. 36th floor pagoda of will. When Yi Tian raised the will pagoda to the 36th floor, he found that he could no longer condense the will pagoda, and no amount of resources would be of any use. Strange, what's going on? Yi Tian was very curious. So, he went to 5.9 to check the information, only then did he know why. It turned out that the limit of the will pagoda of the normal 3-layered ancestor is 36 layers. Only by engraving the 36th layer of the will pagoda on the extreme poles and gathering 36 extreme poles can we break the extreme of the will pagoda. No matter how strong the will of the extreme way is, it cannot condense the 37th floor will pagoda. Although the will pagoda cannot continue to accumulate layers, the extreme will can continue to improve, which does not prevent me from refining these resources, and the cultivation base can also be improved. Yi Tian's cloned body in Wukong Tianmen worked hard to improve his cultivation and will of extreme Taoism in the following years, while other cloned bodies tried their best to comprehend the extreme poles and black words. In this way, the years passed, and in a blink of an eye, it was 100 years of the original era. Single G. Chapter 2105 The watershed hit the boundary of the world. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. At this time, Yi Tian was inscribed the 36th black text. Once the black text is inscribed, he can continue to condense the layers of the pagoda of will. Black text inscription complete. At this time, the 36th floor of the Will Pagoda released a black light, and the aura began to transform, as if the entire Will Pagoda was about to transform. Boom! An incomparably pure energy merged into the entire will of the pole from the void inside the Will Pagoda. Will feedback. Yi Tian was enlightened. Obviously, after all the 36-layer Will Pagodas were inscribed with extreme extremes, a transformation occurred, resulting in a burst of energy within the Will Pagoda, and his overall extreme will began to improve, and the improvement was not counted. Low. This is equivalent to gaining a part of the will of the extreme way in vain, and the will of the extreme way is more condensed and powerful, which is also a benefit. Soon, the will feedback is over, the overall quantity is not too much, but the quality has improved, this is the key. 29 inches okay, you can continue to gather the will tower. Yi Tian began to condense the pagoda of will step by step. 37th floor, 38 floors, 39 floors. When Yi Tian condensed to the 72nd floor, he could no longer condense the will pagoda. The 72nd floor is also a bottleneck, and the 72 will towers must be condensed to the limit. Yi Tian muttered, and he has only comprehended the 36 extreme extremes now, and it will take a long time before he can comprehend the remaining 36 extreme extremes one by one. It's a waste of time to comprehend the extreme way. It is a waste of time to copy all kinds of treasures that contain extreme power and slowly comprehend it. Last time I got a lot of extreme treasures from the false god realm, just use them directly. And then use the Wukong Tianmen special treasure that helps to understand the ultimate pole, which can save a lot of time. Yi Tian secretly said. Then, Yi Tian began to frantically refine those treasures that contained extreme extremes, and he had a lot of extreme ancestral gifts, so the absorption effect was better. According to his comprehension, regardless of the cost, every 10 yuan eras, he can probably comprehend an extreme way. This kind of speed is unimaginable for many people. Those triple primitive ancestors, even if they have one or two kinds of extreme ancestry, it is easy to comprehend the extreme extremes corresponding to the extreme ancestors, but it is difficult to comprehend the extreme extremes, and the more extreme extremes you comprehend, to comprehend a kind of extreme way, it is as difficult as going to the sky. The three ancestors Yi Tian saw in the false god realm who had comprehended the 72 extreme extremes, they did not know how many times they had cultivated in the original realm, and they had paid an unknown price to achieve such an achievement. Therefore, Yi Tian's speed of comprehension is enough to make the ancestors of the fifth layer envious. Years go by, Yi Tian has comprehended one extreme way after another, and there are more and more black words on the pagoda of will. Of course, Yi Tian's resource consumption is very serious, those resources taken from the false god realm are consumed too fast. On this day, Yi Tian's resources were almost consumed. Cultivation is the peak of the triple primitive ancestor, comprehends 69 extreme extremes, and engraves 69 black characters on the pagoda of will. Yi Tian's current strength is much stronger than in the past. For example, the original ancestor of the three-layered archery, the original ancestor of the blood shadow, Yi Tian's current strength is not necessarily weaker than the opponent, and may even be more powerful. It's a pity that the resources are exhausted, otherwise I will soon be able to comprehend the 72 extreme extremes. Yi Tian murmured. Of course, with his comprehension and talent, he would only need to spend a few hundred yuan epochs at most to comprehend the remaining 3 extreme extremes and collect 72 extreme extremes. After comprehending so many extreme extremes, Yi Tian intends to create more and more powerful primordial control extremes, so that he can truly exert his own strength and be comparable to those top 3-level primordial ancestors who are truly monstrous. Create a primitive control technique involving 36 extreme extremes first. Yi Tian planned. If such a primordial control technique was really created, it would certainly far exceed the ordinary primal control technique. Of course, it will take a long time. But he had to create, otherwise he wouldn't be able to truly rank among the top 3 original ancestors. This day, the entire boundary of the world and the deep sea of the extreme way trembled suddenly. At this time, all the pseudo-primitive ancestors and primitive ancestors became nervous. What happened? Yi Tian frowned slightly. Soon, a perfect controller of the extreme realm began to communicate and inquire about the situation. After all, the entire world suddenly trembled, as if it had been hit by something. At this time, the Unbounded Lord sent a message to Yi Tian. Lord of the Endless, something happened. The Unbounded Lord said. Yi Tian soon met the Unbounded Lord. At this time, the Unbounded Lord took Yi Tian and escaped into the original Black Sea. What happened? Yi Tian asked. Lord of Endless, you perceive the whole world, said the Lord of Unbounded. Yi Tian sensed it in the original Black Sea, and suddenly found a different place. Next to Jajia and Jadao 093 Deep Sea, there is an unknown original domain. No, it's not the original domain, it's the watershed. Yi Tian exclaimed. The Lord of Endless seems to know a lot, and he actually knows about the watershed. The Lord of Unbounded said solemnly, yes, this is indeed a watershed, a special domain that is constantly flowing. The possibility that the original domain was hit by the watershed is too low. Oh, I didn't expect that we met in the realm of the world. The watershed has opportunities, but most of them are crises. The watershed is often the home of the primordial black beast, and the primordial black beast is so powerful. The weakest primordial black beast has the combat power of the first-level primordial ancestor. The more powerful primordial black beasts have the combat power of the second-level primordial ancestor, and there are many primordial black beasts of the third-level primordial ancestor. At present, Jajia has not officially bordered this river basin. I have a suggestion, that is to simply give up the world and escape. We can take some top practitioners and abandon all others. Abandon them all. Yi Tian was stunned. The Unbounded Lord must be too cruel. It won't work if we don't give up. If we don't escape, the world will be gone. If we take away a group of cultivators, if we find a weaker territory in the future, we can invade each other and develop our cultivation civilization again, said the Unbounded Lord. No, I don't agree. Yi Tian rejected this suggestion. Chapter 2106 Holy Art, Glazed Holy Cover. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. It is only a river basin, Yi Tian is not incapable of dealing with it, how could he abandon the boundary of the world? Of course, he also knew the concern of the Unbounded Lord, because the Unbounded Lord was just an ordinary triple ancestor, and the watershed was too dangerous for him. Moreover, the Unbounded Lord is only a body and does not dare to take risks. If he had dared to take risks, he would not have dared to enter the treasure land that gave birth to the Juji Golden Lotus. Lord of Endless, the watershed is not a joke. The dangers of the watershed are strong and weak, but none of them can be dealt with. The Lord of Unbounded tried to persuade. Yi Tian shook his head. Lord Unbounded, I have a way to deal with a watershed, and the watershed also has good opportunities. I will not give up. I know your worries, you think the watershed is terrible, but I am not afraid, my strength has arrived. The extent you can't imagine. Your strength, the Unbounded Lord is stunned. Didn't it take you a while to break through to the third-level ancestor? What strength do you have? At this moment, Yi Tian no longer concealed his breath. Boom! The breath of the peak of the triple original ancestor was exposed, causing the Lord of Unbounded to shiver all over. The cultivation base of the peak of the triple original ancestor. The Unbounded Lord knows very well how much resources he has to consume if he wants to raise his cultivation base to the limit of the triple primitive ancestor. He has practiced for countless years, and he does not know how much resources he has refined. So far, he is only at the peak of the middle stage of the triple primitive ancestor, and he has not yet stepped into it. Entering the late stage of the triple original ancestor. As a result, Yi Tian has now stepped into the peak of the triple primordial ancestor. Lord of Endless, even if it is the peak of the triple original ancestor, there is still no way to do it in the valley. The Lord of Unbounded said. At this time, Yi Tian was filled with aura of extreme extremes. Of course, Yi Tian only showed 72 extreme auras. At the same time, Yi Tian's will pagoda emerged, and the breath of 69 extreme extremes permeated from the will pagoda, which represented that Yi Tian had engraved 69 extreme extremes. What, Lord of Endless, you have already comprehended the 72 extreme extremes, and engraved the 69 extreme extremes on the pagoda of will. How did you do it? And the 69 extreme extremes Dao, there must be 69 inscription techniques, the value of each inscription technique is unimaginable. No, you have joined the forces of the upper spirit realm and obtained a system of inscription techniques. Pipe exclamation mark. The Unbounded Lord reacted. Yi Tian nodded and said, yes, I have already joined the 4th layer Tianmen Wukong Tianmen, and when the 5th layer Virtual Tooth Holy Door recruits members next time, I can directly enter the Virtual Tooth Holy Door. And I still having created the primordial control technique, my strength is already in the ranks of the top 3 primordial ancestors of the Lingyuan ancestors in the higher planes. Lord of Endless, I didn't expect you to grow to such a level, this is a monster. While the Unbounded Lord was shocked, he was extremely envious. At this moment, his strength is simply not at the same level as Yi Tian. He originally went to a middle-level region and spent countless years before he barely reached the realm of the 3rd-level ancestor. Then he went to the ancestor of the upper spirit. After countless years, he grew to this level, and the forces he joined were only able to. It is said that it is a small force, but the big force does not want him at all. And the small forces did not have a systematic inscription technique at all, and they were of little help to him. Now, as soon as Yi Tian entered the upper spirit realm, he joined the 4th level heaven gate as an outsider, and he could even enter the 5th level holy gate. This kind of treatment really made him jealous. Unbounded Lord, I'll take out the watershed to investigate the situation first. If it can be dealt with, there is no need to withdraw. Yi Tian said. It is good, the Unbounded Lord responded. Immediately, he returned to the end of the world and informed the Lord of the Golden Body, the Lord of the White Knight, and the Lord of Destruction of the situation. Extremely real river, Unbounded Lord, Endless Lord is more powerful than you now. The Lord of the Night was shocked. It's true that Yi Tian is too low-key. After he became the perfect controller of the extreme realm, he went into seclusion and practiced penance. According to the words of the Unbounded Lord, even if Yi Tian comprehends the extreme way once he breaks through, it is only a 1st-level primitive ancestor, and they are also a 1st-level primitive ancestor, and they are also a kind of primitive ancestor peak realm. Even if Yi Tian comprehends the extreme time and space, as long as he has the resources, he can quickly become the 2nd ancestor. However, the gap between the 2nd-level ancestor and the triple-level ancestor is too big, and it is also very difficult. Unexpectedly, Yi Tian not only became the original ancestor of the triple layer, but also hoped to solve the watershed that even the Unbounded Lord could not solve. Listening to the meaning of the Unbounded Lord is already the 1st ancestor of the world. How much more powerful he is than me. The Unbounded Lord sighed. He can crush me with one finger now. Crushing the Unbounded Lord with one finger. Lord of the Night, they can't believe it. The Lord of Unbounded said again. You have to prepare with both hands. If the Lord of Endless really can't solve the danger of the river basin, I will take you away as soon as possible. Is the watershed really that dangerous? Asked the Lord of the Night. He really doesn't want to leave. This is his home, and if he really wants to leave, there is absolutely no way to take away all the practitioners, and countless practitioners have to fall. It's really extremely dangerous. Even if it were me, I would be killed instantly. The Unbounded Lord sighed. I once saw a video where a low-level region encountered a watershed, and that low-level region the realm is stronger than us. As a result, at the moment when it communicated with the river basin, dense primordial black beasts emerged. There were thousands of primordial black beasts comparable to me, and the low-level original realm was destroyed in an instant. All cultivation practices there is no hope of escaping, even the original ancestors did not have time to escape, and they were killed directly. Therefore, if the danger of the river basin cannot be solved, if you want to leave, you should leave early, otherwise, when the day comes to communicate with each other, you will escape. No more, the Unbounded Lord said. I hope that the Lord of Infinity can solve the danger in the watershed. The Lord of the Golden Body they looked forward to. Watershed, I didn't expect such good luck. Yi Tian is very happy. He just inquired about the information about the watershed at Wukong Tianmen, the watershed that made the Lord of Unbounded fear endless. In the eyes of the real powerhouse, it was a big opportunity. Basically, there are many treasures containing extremes in every river basin, and the resources are extremely abundant. Moreover, the watershed is also about the practice of a kind of sacred art, the glazed holy cover, which is one of the sacred arts that many 4-fold heavenly gates or 5-fold holy gates have. The glazed hood belongs to the species of extreme poles. If you understand the corresponding 3 kinds of forest root poles, then you can cultivate into the glazed holy hood by cultivating the entire watershed and the inside of your body. Once the glazed holy hood is practiced, its defensibility is enough to withstand the blow of the top 4-layer primitive ancestor, and its life-saving ability skyrockets. The cultivation conditions for any sacred art in the Holy Spirit Sanctuary are extremely harsh. Even many quadruple ancestors cannot practice a sacred art. Only the very powerful quadruple ancestors can hope to become a sacred art. Among the 3 ancestors, the existence of practicing holy arts is even rarer. To a certain extent, the sacred art is much stronger than the original control technology, but the sacred art cannot be maintained for a long time, and it has nothing to do with the cultivation base, and his power is fixed. That is to say, once the strength reaches a certain level, the sacred technique is useless, but the original control technique is useful. To put it simply, holy arts are side-door secret arts that temporarily make one's strength very powerful, not an orthodox way. But even so, for the 3-level ancestor or the general 4-level ancestor, the power of holy art is too powerful. For example, if a triple primitive ancestor has mastered the glazed holy hood, before the power of the holy art is exhausted, the quadruple primitive ancestor cannot kill the triple primitive ancestor, and can only wait until the power of the opponent's holy art is exhausted. Chapter 2107-108 Story Will Pagoda. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The watershed is too rare. Even if the 5 ancestors go to find it, they may not be able to find the watershed. If a watershed is advertised, there will definitely be a 4-fold ancestor to come here and snatch the watershed. Yi Tian muttered. Soon, he determined the specific location of the watershed, and then used the space-time limit pole to construct the space-time channel, so as to escape into the watershed. The watershed is different from the original domain. The location of the original domain is fixed and the time and space fluctuations are stable. However, the time and space fluctuations of the watershed are too unstable, which means that the coordinates are always changing, so it is difficult to enter. Unless the channel where the watershed collides with the original domain is completely opened, it is easy to enter the watershed. But then it was too late to enter. Therefore, Yi Tian needs to enter the watershed in advance. Time passed slowly, and finally Yi Tian successfully locked the space-time coordinates of the watershed and directly escaped into it. Within the watershed, as soon as Yi Tian entered here, he immediately sensed a primordial black beast with an incomparably powerful aura. Primordial black beast has wisdom, knows how to cooperate, encounters enemies together, and primordial black beast will fight together. This is one of the reasons why primordial black beast is terrifying. Yi Tian's copying talent shrouded the audience, and when he sensed the talent of these primitive black beasts, he also roughly knew their strength. Fortunately, the original black beasts in this watershed are not too powerful. Yi Tian said fortunately, if it was the top-notch watershed, it would not even dare to provoke the ancestors of the 4th layer. Boom! The battle has begun. Yi Tian went all out, the pagoda of will summoned out to protect the whole body, and all kinds of extreme power burst out. Puff puff! A primordial black beast of the triple primordial level was bombarded by Yi Tian and died under his primordial black light. And those ordinary primordial black beasts were directly smashed by Yi Tian's power, like ants being slaughtered with a wave of hands. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian was surrounded and killed by a large number of primordial black beasts, but they couldn't help Yi Tian. Gradually, there were more and more corpses of the primordial black beast, and fewer primordial black beasts survived. After a long time, all the original black beasts were killed. And Yi Tian consumes a lot of power, and even the will pagoda is bleak. However, he won. It's not easy, even I have killed this group of primordial black beasts for so long. If these primordial black beasts really rush into the boundary of the world, I am afraid that the boundary of the world will be destroyed, and I will not be able to kill them. Just them. Fortunately, I came in early, otherwise I wouldn't be able to protect those practitioners in the world. Yi Tian muttered. Then, Yi Tian began to scrape the resources here, which took him a lot of time. After the resources were scraped, Yi Tian began to collect this watershed. The original black beast of the watershed was destroyed, so it was easy to collect it. You only need to use the extreme pole to swallow the source of the watershed. After refining, you can directly absorb the entire watershed. Let's start. Yi Tian quickly sensed the origin of the watershed, and many extremes on his body began to invade the origin of the watershed, refining it little by little. Since no one disturbed Yi Tian, the refining process went smoothly. This day, the entire watershed was completely refined by Yi Tian. Receive. The huge watershed was instantly taken over by Yi Tian, and Yi Tian's body also returned to the original Black Sea. Successful, then you only need to gather the 33 extreme poles corresponding to the holy art of the glazed holy hood, and then you can practice the glazed holy hood. Yi Tian secretly said. Subsequently, Yi Tian exchanged the holy art of the glazed glass sacred cover from the heavenless gate, and knew the 33 extremes of this holy art. I already own 27 extremes, and there are only 6 extremes left. Yi Tian smiled. In this way, it won't take long for him to really become a glazed holy hood. After practicing this secret technique, his strength will increase a lot. Although his attack power is not good, his life-saving energy CJFJ is stronger than many quadruple ancestors, and it can be of great use at critical moments. For example, in some extremely dangerous forbidden places, the 4th level primitive ancestor did not dare to enter, but he could enter, and he could also get benefits. In addition, he can also duplicate his body, and with the glazed holy hood, he can really break into some forbidden places. Boundary of the world. Lord of Unbounded, I have finished the matter of the watershed, so that those pseudo-original ancestors and ancestors of Jejia don't have to worry. Yi Tian informed Lord of Unbounded. The watershed is done. The Unbounded Lord couldn't believe it. Immediately, he entered the primordial Black Sea and sensed the breath of the watershed. As a result, he could not sense the watershed. The watershed is gone. The Unbounded Lord was extremely surprised. According to his original domain, it will be like a needle, penetrate through the original domain, and then disappear. And in this process, everything in the original domain will be destroyed by those original black beasts. But now, the watershed suddenly disappeared, and it did not penetrate the boundary of the world. Obviously, Yi Tian had managed the primordial black beast in the watershed, and what method did he use to get the watershed to leave? The Unbounded Lord doesn't know the holy art of the glazed glass sacred cover, otherwise he would know that Yi Tian took the watershed. The watershed was gone, and the Lord of the Golden Body breathed a sigh of relief. And the more pseudo-primitive ancestors didn't feel anything at all. After all, they didn't really see the watershed, nor did they see those primordial black beasts. In the following years, Yi Tian began to comprehend the extreme extremes. With the resources from the watershed, Yi Tian's cultivation speed has accelerated again. After dozens of Yuan eras, Yi Tian successfully comprehended the three extreme extremes, and then engraved the black words represented by these three extreme extremes on the Pagoda of Will. So far, the 72 floors of Yi Tian's Will Pagoda have all been inscribed with extreme extremes. Boom! The Will Pagoda feeds back the will of the extreme way, making Yi Tian's will of the extreme way increase again. Afterwards, Yi Tian could continue to condense the Pagoda of Will. 73 floors, 74th floor, 75 floors. When Yi Tian condensed to the 108th floor, he could no longer condense the Will Pagoda. Moreover, Yi Tian found out that his will of the extreme way would not be able to continue to condense after a few more layers. Even if he can continue to condense the Will Pagoda in the future, he will have to find more original spirit holy fruit and more precious treasures to improve own ultimate will. Next, continue to comprehend the extreme extremes, comprehend 108 extreme extremes, and then inscribe them all on the Pagoda of Will. Yi Tian planned. Of course, he now needs to comprehend certain three extreme extremes, gather together the 33 extreme extremes of cultivating the glazed holy hood, and then practice the holy art of the glazed holy hood. This is the most important thing right now. Chapter 2108 successfully practiced. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Years passed, and another time passed. Yi Tian went through constant hard work, and finally realized the remaining three extreme extremes needed by the glazed holy hood one by one. So far, Yi Tian has gathered the 33 extreme extremes corresponding to the glazed holy hood. At this time, he can go to practice the glazed holy mask. With the river basin, the corresponding 33 extreme poles are also available. Therefore, Yi Tian only needs to practice step by step. As long as his luck is not very unlucky, he will hardly fail. Next, Yi Tian used the specific 33 extreme poles to penetrate into the watershed, transformed the compressed watershed step by step, turned the watershed into a glazed holy bead, and perfectly integrated with the body of the original ancestor. Practice. And this step probably takes hundreds of years of the original era, which is a very long time, but compared with the harvest, this time is worth spending. Although the area of the watershed is not comparable to the original area, it is also very large. At this moment, under the action of the holy glyphic holy cover, it is compressed and condensed little by little, and the walls of the watershed become stronger and stronger. If it is really compressed into a glazed holy bead, such a glazed holy bead is difficult to be broken. Even if the original ancestor is killed, the glazed holy bead will remain intact. Of course, if the original ancestor dies, the source of the glazed holy bead will be severely damaged, and it is almost worthless, and can no longer be used to cultivate the glazed holy hood. Compression, compression, compress again. Yi Tian has been in retreat and cultivated the colored glass sacred cover, and finally after more than 520 Yuan dynasty eras, he successfully practiced the colored glass sacred cover. Boom! A glazed holy bead was integrated into the depths of Yi Tian's body, perfectly merging with the body of the original ancestor. At this time, Yi Tian sensed a special power contained within the colored glass sacred bead, and this special power was the source power that inspired the colored glass sacred cover. As long as this power is not exhausted, the glazed holy cover will always be opened. If it is exhausted, the glazed holy cover will not be able to be used, and it will take a long time to recover. Of course, if one really encounters the terrifyingly powerful four-layered ancestor, they can't break the glass holy hood, and they can quickly exhaust the energy of the glass holy hood, or seal it directly. Therefore, even if you have the glazed holy cover, you can't just wave it. Try the power of the glazed holy hood. Yi Tian made the will clone to attack the cloned body. Glass holy cover. A faint light curtain protected Yi Tian. Boom. One after another attack bombarded on the glazed holy hood, but it couldn't shake the slightest bit of the glazed holy hood. Moreover, with his current strength, it would take at least a long time to attack before he can exhaust the energy of the glass holy hood. Very good, with the holy master of the colored glass sacred cover, even the mighty fourfold primitive ancestor can't help me, but I can't help others either. Yi Tian muttered, if you can learn an offensive holy art, you can deal with the four-layer primitive ancestor, but the cultivation of offensive holy art is even more exaggerated, and you can only hope to meet the conditions by luck. In these 500 or so original eras, he not only practiced the glazed holy hood, but also exhausted the resources in the watershed, improved the will of extreme Tao a lot, and also comprehended more than 30 kinds of extreme Tao. At present, he has engraved all the black words represented by the 103 extreme poles on the pagoda of will. It can be said that Yi Tian's current strength has reached an inconceivable level even without the help of the glazed holy hood. If it is the kind of ordinary four-layer early ancestor who breaks through with 9 extreme poles, I may be able to kill him with confidence. Yi Tian reckoned. Of course, he is only estimating, and he has not really played against a quadruple ancestor. It's time to deal with the problem of the deep sea. The inheritance of the original Jodian map cannot be left there, in case any fourfold ancestor came here from the Black Sea from a distance, and accidentally discovered the inheritance of the original Jodian map, it will be exposed. Yi Tian muttered. After all, it is the inheritance of the system of inscriptions that contains 365 extremes. Even the 5-layer holy door does not necessarily have this inheritance, so the 5-layer original ancestors are interested in this kind of inheritance. Therefore, Yi Tian thought about it, and decided to handle this matter well. Let the golden-winged pengbird copy its body to deal with it, kill the original ancestors of the deep sea, and then occupy the original divine weapon bell and the original Jodian map inheritance. Yi Tian decided. Jadao Deep Sea Palace. Yi Tian summoned the 13 palace masters of Jadao Deep Sea in his own name. Soon, one after another palace masters came, including the most powerful Abyss Palace Master, and the nominal Palace Master of the Golden-Winged Rock Bird, the Ice and Snow Palace Master. Golden-Winged Palace Master, is there anything you need to call us? Asked the Abyss Palace Master. The Blood Saint Palace Master and others were also very curious, and they all asked, Golden-Winged Palace Master, everyone is here, so let's talk about anything. At this time, Yi Tian said, I think 13 palace masters are too many. As soon as these words came out, many palace masters changed their colors. Golden Wings, don't talk nonsense. Palace Master Bingshe is also nervous. This is undoubtedly a war with other palace masters. If the Abyss Palace Master is angry, she will not be able to keep her disciple. Golden Winged Palace Lord, do you know what you are talking about? Abyss Palace Master said coldly. Yi Tian said coldly, I think one Palace Lord is enough. At this moment, these Palace Masters found that the time and space around them were blocked and could not be opened at all. Court Death. The Blood Saint Palace Master was the first to take action. At this time, he was not afraid of the Ice and Snow Palace Master. After all, the Golden Winged Palace was mainly against everyone. However, Yi Tian pointed to it. The Blood Saint Palace Lord collapsed directly and completely disappeared from the heaven and earth. One hit kill. Puff puff puff. One after another, the palace masters who reached the first level of the original ancestor were killed in seconds, without the slightest resistance. At this time, even the Abyss Palace Master who has reached the limit of the second level original ancestor was terrified. Does your strength have reached the realm of the 3 original ancestors? The Abyss Palace Master said in horror. Ask for flowers. Yes, I have reached the realm of the triple primordial ancestor, and it is far beyond the ordinary triple primordial ancestor. Having said that, Yi Tian's body showed all kinds of extreme auras, making the Abyss Palace Master look desperate. Golden Winged Palace Lord, no, Lord Golden Winged, I submit to you. The Lord of Unbounded is also the original ancestor of the 3 layers. You kill us, and you will undoubtedly make Jadao Deep Sea in a weak position, and you will not have an advantage in the face of the boundary, said the Abyss Palace Master. Who said I'm an extreme creature? This is just a clone of me. Yi Tian said. He wanted to let the Abyss Palace Master die, so he disclosed it directly. What? You are a clone? The Abyss Palace Master was dumbfounded. A force beyond his imagination struck, and his body was directly melted. The Abyss Palace Master has fallen. So far, there is only one person left in the field, the Ice and Snow Palace Master. Golden Wing, are you going to kill me? The Ice and Snow Palace Master said. No, I won't kill you. Yi Tian shook his head. I will seal some of your memories. Unless your strength can reach the realm of the third ancestor, you will not be able to awaken this memory. 0. After all, Palace Master Bingshe is his master who duplicated his body, so he naturally wouldn't kill Palace Master Bingshe, but he had to seal the memory of the original Zhou Tiantu. In this way, no polar creatures in the deep sea of the extreme way know the original Zhodian map. The ultimate pole of illusion was activated, directly shrouding the Ice and Snow Palace Master, leaving the Ice and Snow Palace Master in an illusion, unable to resist. Then, Yi Tian pointed to it, and the Extreme Soul Path was activated, and began to seal the memory of the Ice and Snow Palace Master about the original Zhodian map. The difference in strength between the two is too big. This can be done, otherwise Yi Tian will not be able to seal her memory. Soon, all the memories of the Ice and Snow Palace Master about this aspect disappeared. After a while, the Ice and Snow Palace Master woke up. Golden Wings, why did you kill them? The Ice and Snow Palace Master was shocked. At this moment, except that she has no memory of the original Zhou Tiantu, everything else is normal. Master, I want to rule the entire deep sea. Yi Tian said. Palace Master Bingshe could not refute. Although he did not agree with Yi Tian's approach, his strength was not as good as Yi Tian, and he could not resist. So far, Yi Tian has completely become the only master of the deep sea. When this news was passed on to the world, the Lord of the Golden Body and the Lord of the White Knight were all stunned. What's the situation? In the deep sea strife, only one of the 14 palace masters was left with the Ice Snow Palace Lord and the newly promoted Palace Lord, the Golden Wing Palace Lord. All the others were killed by the Golden Wing Palace Lord. They guessed that the Golden Winged Palace Master had reached the realm of the triple primordial ancestor, otherwise they would not be able to do this. They don't dare to attack the deep sea of the extreme way. After all, a triple ancestor is not something they can deal with. The Unbounded Lord knew about this matter and wanted to go to the deep sea to investigate, but Yi Tian came over with a message directly. That's my doppelganger. This sentence directly made the Unbounded Lord corpse. Chapter 2109 Sunset Mountain, Sunset Orb. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. It's finally here. Yi Tian was holding this original divine weapon bell, ready to refine it. This primordial magic weapon is somewhat special. Not only is it the top-notch primordial magic weapon, but its origin is very stubborn, and it is engraved with the inheritance of the original Zhodian map, which makes this primordial magic weapon difficult to refine. At the beginning, the Abyss Palace Master did not want to refine it, but could not refine it. However, Yi Tian's cultivation has reached the peak of the triple primordial ancestor, and he has also comprehended more than 100 black words. It is only a matter of time before he wants to refine this big bell. Yi Tian manipulated more than 100 kinds of extremes to penetrate into the inside of this big bell, and slowly began to refine it. Time passed slowly, and this original divine weapon was gradually refined by Yi Tian. After 13 years of the original era, Yi Tian was completely refined. Creating the heavenly clock. This is the name of this big bell. If 093 is used as a weapon, its defense is very strong, and the more extreme poles it incorporates, its defense will continue to improve. Certainly, it is impossible for Yi Tian to use it as a weapon to resist the enemy's attack, otherwise, wouldn't the inheritance of the original Zhodian map be exposed? Before he fully comprehends the original Zhodian map, he will not destroy the inheritance above. Certainly, he can also transfer the inheritance, but in that case, the heavenly clock of fortune will be useless. The next goal is to comprehend the 108 extremes in black words, and then inscribe the black words on the pagoda of will. Yi Tian secretly said, once this step is achieved, his strength can skyrocket. Due to the exhaustion of resources, Yi Tian's next comprehension speed was a little slower, but the speed at which he comprehended an extreme path was already a pervert that other triple primitive ancestors could not imagine. Practice slowly, Yi Tian muttered. Empty sky gate. This day, a group of quadruple ancestors are discussing a matter, and their faces are very solemn at this moment. Something happened to Sunset Mountain, do you know? The person who speaks is the Kuai Yuanzu, who is at the peak of the 4-layer original ancestor of Wukong Tianmen. He is a person who has successfully entered the 4th layer Yuanzu with 36 extremes and the complete system inscription technique of Wukong real body technique, of the strong. Once, he entered the Void Fang Holy Gate to practice, but later returned to the Wukong Tianmen as one of the deputy sect masters. It can be said that the original ancestor of the Sea of Bitterness definitely belongs to the top group among the 4 original ancestors. The original ancestor of the Sea of Bitterness, I will wait to find out. Sunset Mountain was looted, and tens of thousands of triple primordial seeds were killed. Although they are all clones of Will, this group of triple ancestors can no longer send clones of Will to Sunset Mountain for a short period of time. Now, it is necessary to resend the triple original ancestor. It's a pity that Sunset Mountain can't accommodate the 4-layer ancestor, otherwise, if I just guard there, nothing will happen. It's useless to say this. During this period of time, sunset orbs will be born at Sunset Mountain at any time. You should all know the value of sunset orbs very well. It is one of the necessary materials for practicing the holy art of Juyong Sword Light. The purpose is definitely the sunset orb, and the Sunset Mountain has been occupied by them, and it needs to be taken back, and it has to be stationed successfully, otherwise it will be taken away by them again, and the sunset orb will still be at risk of being lost. Although the primordial black beast is wise, it doesn't want to take the sunset orb. It should be that a certain force control the powerful primordial black beast, and then let that primordial black beast order countless primordial black beasts to take action. Guess what? If there is a force, we can't find any evidence. Let's send the 3 ancestors to the Sunset Mountain first, that treasure land cannot be lost. Well, let the top 3 ancestors also go, don't always take advantage of it and do nothing. By the way, let the infinite ancestor also go there and experience it, and he has obtained so many resources last time, and his cultivation base has been raised to the peak of the triple primitive ancestor, and he has mastered dozens of extremes, and his strength is still very powerful. Then it's decided. Empty Sky Gate. Yi Tian received a subpoena from the top. Go and retake Sunset Mountain, and then guard Sunset Mountain. Yi Tian didn't know about Sunset Mountain, so he went to learn about it, and then he knew the value of Sunset Mountain. Sunset Mountain produces the Sunset Orb, and the Sunset Orb is one of the 9 special treasures containing the extreme of the sun in the attacking holy art of Juyong Jiangguang. Once you have collected the 9 kinds of orbs and mastered the 27 extremes, you can practice the 9 Sun Sword Light. The attack of Juyong Jiangguang was very terrifying. Once, a triple ancestor relied on Juyong Jiangguang to kill a weaker quadruple ancestor with a single sword, so he became famous in the spiritual realm. One can imagine how high the value of the Sunset Orb is. Moreover, the Void Fang Sacred Door wants the Sunset Orb, and once the Wukong Tianmen obtains the Sunset Orb, it needs to supply the Void Fang Sacred Door. Now, when the Sunset Mountain is lost, this is a big event, and the holy sect of the Void Fang will be furious if he knows it. Since it is Wukong Tianmen who asked me to go, then let's go. Yi Tian decided. However, this time, he is not going to send the Will clone to go, but to copy the body to go in person, and the Will clone stays at the Skyless Gate. After all, the avatar of the Will cannot copy the body, but the copy body can copy other bodies. Moreover, he is going to use the ability to copy the body to copy a primitive black beast and infiltrate the opponent's camp. Maybe he can discover some secrets and gain some benefits. Let's go. Yi Tian went directly to the gathering place, gathered with the other 3-level ancestors of Wukong Sky, and under the leadership of the 4th-level ancestor, left the original area of Shengling and went to Sunset Mountain. Sunset Mountain is not in the Shengling Yuan. Sunset Mountain is a special treasure, and only the 3 ancestors are allowed to enter it. Soon, the 4 ancestors led nearly 100,000 3 ancestors to come here. The purpose is to recapture the Sunset Mountain. Go in, the 4 ancestors ordered, buzzing. One by one, the triple primordial ancestors escaped into the Sunset Mountain, but soon saw the dense primordial black beasts. Why so many primordial black beasts? The complexion of a 5.9 triple ancestor changed. This number is more than what the quadruple ancestors said. Obviously, this primordial black beast force has sent a large number of primordial black beasts. Never mind, kill them. The 3 primordial ancestors fought with these primordial black beasts. And Yi Tian also shot, but he did not explode all the combat power, only a small part, but it is still not comparable to the ordinary primordial black beast. Even the primordial black beast comparable to the powerful triple primordial ancestor cannot stop Yi Tian a trick. 10 Fang Sword World. One after another, the original black beasts were shrouded in the huge sword world, and they were all smashed to pieces. This is a primitive control technique created by Yi Tian with 36 extremes. Yi Tian slaughtered a large number of primordial black beasts with the sword world of the 10 directions, and soon ushered in a primordial black beast with terrifying combat power. Chapter 2110 Another Watershed. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The path of cultivation of the original black beast is to use the flesh to inscribe all kinds of extremes, so that the bloodline can be improved and transformed, and the combat power will become stronger and stronger. And the primordial black beast attracted by Yi Tian was filled with more than 30 kinds of extremes, and he was definitely one of the most enchanting among this group of primordial black beasts. Boom! Yi Tian played against the opponent, only showing the strength that is not weaker than the opponent, and did not show excessive strength. Otherwise, Yi Tian really did his best and could definitely easily kill this primordial black beast. Although the number of primordial black beasts is large, the quality is not good, and they can't beat the triple primordial ancestors of Wukong Tianmen. It won't be long before this battle will be over. Yi Tian muttered. Now, Yi Tian is replicating the body of a primordial black beast in his body. It is a primordial black beast that has mastered 9 extremes. Among the primordial black beasts, his strength is not too weak, but not too strong. Yi Tian killed this primordial black beast before, and now he can just copy it. During this battle, it was very chaotic, and no one knew whether this primordial black beast had really fallen. So, this time it won't be revealed. Soon, the copying is over. I saw that after Yi Tian shot this primordial black beast that contained more than 30 extremes, he directly rushed into another place, killing or knocking the primordial black beasts into the air, and a large amount of primordial black light enveloped the audience. At this time, Yi Tian released his own original black beast to copy the body, and was directly knocked into the air by himself, mixing into the camp of the original black beast. This scene is unknowable. Next, Yi Tian manipulated his own original black beast to copy the body, and he would definitely not find a powerful triple ancestor to fight, but only find a weaker triple ancestor to fight with the opponent. Just like that, time passed slowly. Finally, the original black beast completely collapsed and began to withdraw. The original black beast was withdrawn through another positioning point. It was a completely unfamiliar place. The 3-level original ancestors naturally did not dare to chase and kill them. Otherwise, they encountered the original black beast of the 4th-level original ancestor. Live. The 4-level ancestors of the Wukong Tianmen tried to block the Wukong Tianmen, but from another positioning point, the power of the 4-layered primitive black beasts attacked one after another, hindering the blockade of the Wukong Tianmen's 4th-level ancestor, so that all the original black beasts were evacuated. Sunset Mountain. The void here is full of corpses, and the 3-level ancestors of Wukong Tianmen quickly cleaned up the battlefield and restored this place to its original state. As for the treasures on these primordial black beasts, whoever kills them belongs to whoever kills them. However, most of the original black beasts were poor, they didn't have the habit of saving resources, they devoured them immediately after they found them, or they liked to put them in their old lair. Consequently, they carry few resources with them. Yi Tian collected all the primordial black beasts that he had killed, took away the resources on them, and annihilated their bodies directly. Everyone, there is no primordial black beast in Sunset Mountain. We need to rearrange the magic circle here to prevent the primordial black beast from invading again. In addition, there are many palaces here, everyone can settle in at will. We have so many triple primordial ancestors, certainly not the guild is stationed here, and the 4 ancestors will soon decide who will be stationed here. For the time being, let's all practice here. One of Wukong Tianmen Daozi, Zheng Shui Yuanzu said. Afterwards, the original ancestors settled in the palace here and began to help lay out the magic circle. Original Black Sea. A group of primordial black beasts escaped here, and at this time, the primordial black beasts of the quadruple primordial ancestry came to meet them. And among them, Yi Tian was mixed into it. Then, Yi Tian escaped with them in the original Black Sea, and after a long time, came to a low-level original area. It's just that this original domain has no life, and now it is the transit point of this original black beast. After these primordial black seas entered this lower original domain, they began to reposition and came to another area. The original black beasts did this to prevent the original ancestors of Wukong Tianmen from tracking. Finally, the primordial black beasts arrived at their destination. It turned out to be a watershed. Yi Tian was extremely shocked. The final destination of these primitive black beasts turned out to be a watershed, and this was their old lair. A portal appeared in the watershed, but this portal was fixed, and a large number of primitive black beasts entered the watershed through the portal. Soon, the gateway disappeared, and the watershed kept moving. As long as it is later, even if the 5 ancestors of the Void Fang Holy Sect come here, they will not be able to find this watershed. The power of this primordial black beast is too small. Just now, I felt one after another of terrifying wills. It is definitely the top 4 primordial ancestors. Ordinary 4 primordial ancestors who want to disguise and enter here will be discovered. In addition, their headquarters is a river basin, and they will not be discovered at all. No wonder Wukong Tianmin can't help this force, so it can't be found here. Yi Tian secretly said. However, he copied the body of the original black beast and mixed in here. In addition, his karma has reached the limit state, and these people can't spy on his identity through karma, so he successfully mixed in. After entering this watershed, Yi Tian realized that this watershed was not simple, and the watershed he refined before 093 couldn't compare with this watershed at all. The rules of this watershed are almost comparable to those of the Middle Plains, second only to the rules of the High Plains. Along the way, Yi Tian sensed a lot of the aura of the 4th ancestor. Suddenly, Yi Tian sensed a cultivator's breath, and the other party shuttled out of a majestic palace in the center of this watershed, and then left the watershed directly. Although the other party only stopped for a moment, it was still detected by Yi Tian's copying talent. By copying the information detected by the talent, Yi Tian quickly knew his identity. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate. Yi Tian didn't know the exact identity of the original ancestor of the Ghost Sect, but it was easy to find out. Therefore, Yi Tian quickly found out the origin of the original ancestor of the Ghost Gate through the information channel of Wukong Tianmin. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate came from the 5-level Holy Gate, the 9-light Holy Gate. Quadruple Ancestral Realm. Could it be that the supporter of this original Black Beast force is the Holy Gate of 9 lights? Yi Tian guessed. However, it should not be the entire support of the 9 lights Holy Sect, but at most a big person in the 9 lights Holy Sect. Chapter 2111 9 Dust Domains, the Dawn Patriarch. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Get acquainted with life here first. Yi Tian muttered. Then, through the extreme karma, he probed into the location of the lair where his original identity of the original black beast was located. Soon, Yi Tian came to a place. This is a huge black lair with a lot of space inside. Moreover, some simple formations were arranged here. Yi Tian quickly cracked the formation and entered it. From now on, this replica body will live here. Yi Tian decided. His current identity is a primordial black beast named by Mo, which should be considered acceptable among the 3 primordial black beasts, but more information is unclear. Next, Yi Tian rarely came out of this lair, and there was little communication between the primordial black beasts, which made Yi Tian less chance of exposure. Moreover, he often spied on the private chats of some primitive black beasts, and gradually understood the situation here. This watershed was called away by this group of primitive black beasts, because the owner of this watershed was called the original ancestor of the 9 dusts, a half-step 5-level ancestor. Some primitive black beasts also know that the 9 dust territory cooperates with the cultivator forces, but they don't know which cultivator force is, and they don't want to know. For the primordial black beast, it is enough to obey the orders of the more advanced primordial black beast, and the others do not need to be concerned. Yi Tian's copy body also has no restrictions, and constantly cultivates the original Zhou Tiantu to strengthen the strength of this copy body. Otherwise, if the strength is too weak, if something really happens, there is no way to save his life. He has already comprehended more than 100 kinds of extremes, so this copying body will naturally improve its strength very quickly, and all kinds of black characters can be inscribed into the body. This day, another batch of primordial black beasts were dispatched. Yi Tian estimated that they were going to attack Sunset Mountain. However, his duplicate body was not ordered, and it was obvious that a group of original black beasts passed by. Sure enough, not long after, Sunset Mountain was attacked, and a great battle broke out. Moreover, many of the 3-level ancestors of Wukong Tianmin have been transferred back, and many of the 3-level ancestors' will clones have died in battle, and they have not recovered yet. Therefore, this battle was very difficult, and many of the will clones of the triple primitive ancestor were killed in the battle, but in the end, the Sunset Mountain was saved. This day, the original ancestor of the Ghost Gate came to the 9 Dust Realm again. Juchen, haven't those primitive black beasts under your command captured Sunset Mountain yet? Juchen said coldly. We captured it before, but it was taken back again. Wukong Tianmin is the 4th-level Tianmin of your upper spiritual realm. It is not an ordinary small force. Our Juchen's strength is too weak. Zhuguang Shengmin is unwilling to support it. It is not difficult for me to take down Sunset Mountain, but what is the point of not being able to keep it? Juchen, you should be very clear that if you can't take the Sunset Mountain, you won't be able to get the Sunset Orb, and the ancestors of the Morning Sun will be very angry," said the original ancestor of the Ghost Gate. Dawn Patriarch. Juchen's face became very dignified when he thought of the ancestors of the Morning Sun. He was able to have today because of the promotion of the Dawn Patriarch, who gave him a chance. Moreover, he also knew the horror of the Dawn ancestor. It was not him who was in charge of so many primordial black beasts, but his boss. As a result, the boss was pinched to death by the Dawn ancestor. Rise. The Dawn sacred ancestor is the 5th level ancestor of the 9 Lights Holy Land, far from being comparable to the 4th level ancestor, and even the half-step 5th level ancestor is far from being an opponent of the 5th level ancestor. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate, give me another period of time, I will recruit some more primordial black beasts, and then continue to attack the Sunset Mountain. When the 3 ancestors of the Wukong Tianmen fall too many, they may be in the Wusun Yuan Yuan. The situation of Zhu Kepai. When the time comes, we will be able to completely take down Sunset Mountain in Juchen Yu. Juchen assured. Okay, I'm waiting for your good news. 1. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate nodded slightly, and immediately left. After the original ancestor of Ghost Sect left, Juchen looked frosty. Sacred ancestor Chengxi, damn it, if I become the original ancestor of the 5th layer, I don't need to look at your face and obey your orders. At that time, I will directly let the 9 Dust Territory get rid of your control, so that you can't find the 9 Dust Territory. Of course, he didn't dare to do it now. The original ancestor of the Morning Light integrated a special item into the 9 Dust domain, which could lock the location of the 9 Dust domain, and also refined 1/10 of the origin of the Jucheng domain. Therefore, if he dares to do this now, the Dawn Patriarch will come soon, and he will be dead. In the following years, Zhu Chenyu attacked Sunset Mountain again and again, leaving Wukong Tianmen helpless, and the other 3 ancestors were unwilling to station at Sunset Mountain. If it weren't for the empty sky to benefit, otherwise those triple primordial ancestors would really run away. This day, this copy of Yi Tian's body was ordered by the 9 Dust domain to go to another treasure land to guard it in return for other original black beasts. According to the rules of Zhu Chenyu, once you attack Sunset Mountain and come back alive, you cannot go for a long time. If there is no such regulation, these primitive black beasts would have run away long ago, and they do not want to die. Therefore, Yi Tian is now dispatched to a treasured place, replaces the other primordial black beasts and returns, and then continues to attack Sunset Mountain. Treasure place. Yi Tian is a little moved, this is a good opportunity. Soon, Yi Tian followed nearly 1,000 3-level ancestors to the primordial Black Sea, and then shuttled continuously to a treasure land. This treasure land is similar to Sunset Mountain, only the 3-level ancestors are allowed, and the 3-level ancestors cannot enter. This treasure land is very important to the 9 Dust Territory, it is a very important resource treasure land, and it also gave birth to a resource that is very important to the primordial black beast Lichen Gold Liquid, which can temper the body of the primordial black beast and temper the bloodline. Of course, there are many other resources as well. Yi Tian came to this place called the Land of Lichen, and then began to sit here, while the other primordial black beasts left here and returned to the 9 Dust realm. These primordial black beasts sit in the Land of Dust, and the promise is good are not to guard against practitioners but to guard against other primordial black beast forces. There are many primordial black beasts in the primordial Black Sea, and they also need resources suitable for them, so they have established forces one by one, and the 9 Dust Territory is just one of them. These primordial black beast forces are also very competitive with each other, and the Land of Dust is a fixed location, not a watershed, so the primordial black beast must be dispatched to guard to prevent invasion here. When guarding here, these primordial black beasts are not allowed to leave, unless they are ordered to leave, which is to prevent exposure here. Moreover, the resources here will be concentrated and sent to the 9 Dust domain for a long time. It's a pity that the group of original black beasts who just left took away the original and sent them back. We can only wait for the resources to continue to accumulate. When the resources here are accumulated to a certain level, I will let the practitioners copy their bodies and take action to snatch the resources here. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 2112 Li Chen Jinju, grab it. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Time flies. Yi Tian has more and more extremes mastered, and the pagoda of will is gradually engraved with 108 extremes. Finally on this day, Yi Tian mastered 108 extreme extremes, understood 108 black characters, and inscribed them all on the 108th floor of the Will Pagoda. After the 108th floor of the Will Pagoda was fully engraved, Yi Tian's extreme will was strengthened again by the feedback of the Will Pagoda. Not only that, Yi Tian can continue to increase the layers of the Will Pagoda. So, Yi Tian took some time to increase the number of layers of the Will Pagoda to a level that could not be increased. The 163-story Will Pagoda, this is the limit that the extreme will I have now can condense. Yi Tian muttered. Now, the resources that he can use to improve the will of the extreme way are really exhausted, and he can only improve it to this level. He needs to continue to collect the resources to improve the will of the extreme way before he can continue to increase the layers of the Will Pagoda. Wait for a while, and I will take away the resources of the land of dust. Yi Tian muttered. 093. A place of dust. Yi Tian's replica body stayed in a void, looking at a strange river. The river would reveal the golden liquid from the dust, and the task of these original black beasts was to collect the golden liquid from the dust, and then store it in the original Shenbing is preserved in the interior. Every once in a while, other primordial black beasts will be collected. No matter who collects it, there is no way to collect it privately. After all, many primitive black beasts are watching together. Who dares to collect it privately? The Weiyu River shook again, and it seemed that another lichen gold liquid was about to flow out. No, this movement is a bit big, it's not lichen gold liquid. Yi Tian was shocked. Soon, primordial black beasts appeared, and more were gathered. Could it be lichen Jinju? There is a primitive black beast guessing. The value of lichen golden bead is far from comparable to lichen golden liquid. Lichen golden bead is a treasure that belongs to the same level as sunset orb. Lichen golden bead can not only make the physical quality of the original black beast skyrocket, but also has a negative impact on the fourfold original. Ancestors are of great use, and can also be used to practice a sacred art, CJFJ, dust-free golden light. This is an offensive sacred art. However, lichen golden light is different from other holy arts. Holy arts like glazed sacred cover and Juyang Jiangguang are holy arts with a high success rate. As long as you gather the materials and meet the training conditions, if you are not unlucky, you will be able to the practice as successful. But lichen Jingguang is different, the success rate of this sacred art is very low. Of course, the success rate is low, but it has another advantage, that is, the cultivation conditions are low. Lichen golden light only needs a lichen golden bead and 13 extreme pulls to practice, and its power is not bad. Basically, a lichen gold bead is not to be trained into a lichen gold bead, but if you are lucky, the value of the lichen gold bead is very high. If it's really lichen Jinju, then the primordial black beast here may inform 9 dust territory soon. I can't wait any longer. The cloned body must come over immediately and snatch the resources here. Yi Tian decided. Immediately, another copy of Yi Tian's body entered the original Black Sea, and then shuttled from a location near the Land of Dust. At this moment, his cloned body has come to the Land of Nowhere, and will enter here at any time. As long as it is confirmed that this dust-free golden bead has really been conceived, it will be done immediately. Time passed little by little. Finally, a golden light emerged, and a bead flew out from the river in the Weiyu area. Lichen Jinju is actually this treasure. Yi Tian was excited. And the other primordial black beasts are also very excited, because they found such a good thing. If they report it, each of them will have a huge reward. Boom! A figure shuttled in from outside the Land of Dust, and it was Yi Tian. No, there are practitioners invading. The primordial black beasts in the Land of Lichen reacted and immediately stopped Yi Tian. However, they couldn't stop it at all. Die! Yi Tian shot directly, blasting the primordial black beasts to death, and then grabbed the lichen Jinju with one hand. Then, Yi Tian directly crossed the void and came to the treasure house of the Land of Dust. Almost all the resources excavated here are stored here, and will not be placed on the body of a primitive black beast. Wild primordial black beasts do not know how to collect resources, but the primordial black beast forces are different, and their use of resources is no less than the power of cultivators. Therefore, the resources that can be collected here are all collected. Although it is collected every once in a while, resulting in not many resources this time, it is also a faction, and for individuals, there are still a lot of resources here. Boom! The treasure house was torn apart by Yi Tian's attack. Immediately, Yi Tian stole the resources in the treasure house, and immediately escaped without killing too much. Time, that tension. What should I do? The lichen Jinju was robbed. If the fourfold original ancestors found out, we would not have a good end. You dare to conceal it? The adults have various means to know the situation here, and they can only report truthfully. And the resources have been robbed here, and they must be reported. Damn, how could there be practitioners coming in, and it was just when the Lycan Jinju was born. I suspect that there are traitors among our original black beasts. I'm not a traitor, neither do I. Soon, these primordial black beasts notified Juchenyu in a special way. 9 Dust Domain. The original ancestor of Juchen quickly learned about the situation in the land of Lycan. Originally, if something happened in the land of Lycan, he did not need to worry about it, but this time the golden pearl of Lycan appeared and was robbed by the practitioners. It's over. How important is the Lycan golden bead? Back then, he only relied on the Lycan golden beads accumulated over the endless years in the Lycan land to cultivate into the Lycan golden light sacred art by chance, and he has the strength he is today. Of course, the inheritance of the sacred art of Lycan golden light was given to him by the ancestor of the dawn, otherwise he would not be able to obtain the inheritance of the sacred art as a primitive black beast. A dust-free gold bead, which is of high value, was taken away by a cultivator. The original ancestor of Juchen was very annoyed. Of course, what made him even more annoyed was that the land of Lycan was discovered by other practitioners, which means that it is not safe there. Chapter 2113 Show Talent and Get Holy Art. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Shutterstock. 1. The original ancestor of Juchen called a primitive black beast in the late stage of the 4th level original ancestor, and he was also one of his powerful generals. Leader. Bai Yuanzu came and said respectfully. Something happened in the land of Lycan, the resources were robbed, and a golden pearl of Lycan was lost. I doubt whether there is a primordial black beast that betrayed us, go check it out. Juchen Yuanzu ordered. Yes, Chief. Bai Yuanzu replied. Afterwards, Bai Yuanzu left the 9 Dust Domain and went to the land of Lycan. Soon, Bai Yuanzu came to the land of Lycan. Although he couldn't get in, he could let those primitive black beasts come out. All out, Bai Yuanzu ordered. After a while, the primordial black beasts came out of the land of dust, and no one dared to stay in the land of dust. In the end, what happened? The Lord of Bai asked. Immediately, the primordial black beasts used the time and space poles to project the picture. Only at this time did Bai Yuanzu know the specific situation. This is, Bai Yuanzu found that this triple ancestor practitioner had at least comprehended 72 extreme extremes. Such a monster is definitely a holy child of a 5th holy door. Could it be that some guy in this group of primordial black beasts took refuge in the 5-layer holy gate forces in the upper spirit realm? Bai Yuanzu guessed. Immediately, he used the power of his karma limit to connect the cause and effect of the mysterious person with the cause and effect of the original black beasts present. If there is a deep cause and effect between each other, then whoever is a traitor. However, no, he found no problems. Either these primordial black beasts are fine, or the traitor has mastered the ultimate karma. However, it is difficult to comprehend the extreme of karma, and among the 4-level ancestors of the 9 Dust Domain, he is the only one who has understood the extreme of cause and effect. You should guard here first, and after a while, there will be a new batch of primitive black beasts to replace you. Bai Yuanzu ordered. Then, Bai Yuanzu left. At this time, the numerous primordial black beasts breathed a sigh of relief. They thought they were going to die. After all, it was normal for some primitive black beasts to be killed after such a big incident. However, recently, the 9 Dust Domain has successively invaded Sunset Mountain, and the losses have been very heavy, so there is a serious lack of primordial black beasts, otherwise they will really be executed. 9 Dust Domain. Bai Yuanzu came back and reported the situation. I didn't find any problems, let's forget about this, but be careful next time. Juchen Yuanzu said coldly. This kind of thing, he is not allowed to appear a second time. Therefore, this batch of primordial black beasts are all replaced, and the next time they invade Sunset Mountain, let them go, and it is not bad to consume them as cannon fodder. The Sea of Origin. Yi Tian's copy body came back, and he was in a very good mood. Ha ha ha, I got a lot of resources this time, and I also got a dust-free golden bead. It's a big gain, Yi Tian said excitedly. He may not have the sacred art of Lycan golden light now, but he can obtain this sacred art through Wukong Tianmen, and then he can practice the sacred art of Lycan golden light. I only have a dust-free golden bead in my hand. If I cultivate directly, I will definitely fail. I must find a way to increase the success rate. Yi Tian murmured. How to improve the success rate of the sacred art of Lycan golden light? Yi Tian thought about it, and then came up with a solution, that is, to copy the lichen Jinju, and then comprehend the mystery of the lichen Jinju, thoroughly understand the inner strength of the lichen Jinju, and then use the real lichen Jinju to carry out practice. Of course, the premise is to obtain the inheritance of the sacred art of lichen golden light before you can conduct research. Empty Sky Gate. Yi Tian kept inquiring about the sacred art of lichen golden light through Wukong Tianmen, and found that Wukong Tianmen did not have the inheritance of this sacred art at present, but the Void Fang Sacred Gate did. But it is not easy for him to obtain the inheritance of the golden light sacred art from the Void Fang Holy Gate. Looks like I have to show some talent, Yi Tian muttered. Afterwards, he came to pay homage to a 4th-level ancestor of Wukong Tianmen, the original ancestor of Kuai. Although Yi Tian is a core disciple, but he has the treatment of Daozi, he is qualified to visit the original ancestor of Kuai, otherwise he will not even be able to see the original ancestor of Kuai. Endless Ancestor, why did you come to see me? The original ancestor of the Bitter Sea asked. Yi Tian said directly, Master Kuai Yuanzu, the disciple wants to obtain the inheritance of the golden light from the Void Fang Holy Gate, I wonder if there is a way. Lichen Jingguang, what do you want this sacred art to do? Could it be that you have obtained the lichen golden pearl? Kuai Yuanzu was a little surprised. For flowers, yes, Master Kuai Yuanzu, Yi Tian said. After all, if there is no lichen Jinju, he will directly apply for the sacred art of lichen Jingguang, and there is definitely no hope. However, the original ancestor of the Sea of Bitterness said, the original ancestor of the infinite, just one or even a few gold beads from the dust is not very useful. I only have a holy son of the holy sect of the Void Fang who is practicing the holy art of the golden light from the dust. If you are selling the lichen Jinju to him will definitely get you a lot of precious resources. If you cultivate by yourself, it will be a complete waste. At this time, Yi Tian did not refute, but directly revealed the 72 extremes of his body. If it wasn't for fear of scaring Kuai Yuanzu, he even wanted to reveal 108 extremes. 72 extreme poles. 0. The original ancestor of the Bitter Sea said in shock. What is the concept of the 72 extremes? At the Holy Gate of Void Fang, the 72 extremes are the standard of the Holy Sun, as long as you understand the 72 extremes, and engrave the 70 on the Will Pagoda. 2 extremes, then you can become a holy child without any assessment. In other words, if Yi Tian has already engraved 72 extremes, then he can become the holy son of the Void Fang holy sect. Lord Kuai Yuanzu, do you think I need to please that holy son? Yi Tian asked lightly. No need, Kuai Yuanzu quickly said. At this moment, he didn't dare to underestimate Yi Tian, after all, he was only a 4th-level ancestor who broke through with 36 extremes. And if Yi Tian enters the Void Fang Sacred Gate, he will soon become the Sacred Son, and once he becomes the 4th-level ancestor in the future, his status will be no less than him, and even surpass him soon. Infinite Ancestor, you can call me Kuai Ancestor from now on, you don't have to call me an adult. The original ancestor of the Bitter Sea said with a smile. Yes, the original ancestor of the Sea of Bitterness. Yi Tian nodded. Afterwards, Kuai Yuan Ancestor said, I will help you apply for a copy of the Golden Light Inheritance from the dust, and it will not be long before you can get it. Thank you Kuai Yuanzu, Yi Tian thanked. After that, he went back and waited. Sure enough, it didn't take long, the original ancestor of the Bitter Sea sent the inheritance of the Golden Light Sacred Art from the dust. It's still good talent, if I continue to hide my clumsiness, how can I get this sacred art? Yi Tian murmured. The next step is to start practicing the sacred art of leaving the dust in golden light. Chapter 2114 Become a golden light from dust. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The lichen golden light sacred art requires the lichen golden bead to be practiced, and Yi Tian first comprehends the lichen golden light sacred art, and then uses the lichen golden bead after the comprehension is complete. Of the 13 extremes involved in lichen Jinju, Yi Tian found that he was only short of one extreme, and the other 12 extremes had already been comprehended. Therefore, it will not take long for him to complete the 13 extremes of the practice of lichen Jinju. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to completely understand the golden light from the dust, and cultivation was no longer a problem. Afterwards, he spent another period of time to comprehend the missing extreme way, and engraved it on the pagoda of Will as the 109th extreme way. This day, Yi Tian took out a lichen golden bead. This is naturally not the real lichen Jinju, but the lichen Jinju copied by Yi Tian. Naturally, a dust-free golden bead like 093, could not help Yi Tian to become a dust-free golden light, but this dust-free golden bead is completely identical except that it was copied. He can fully perceive the power inside the lichen golden bead, and use this lichen golden bead to cultivate the initial effect of lichen golden light, so as to continuously deduce and ensure the success rate. Others dare not do this. It is not necessary, because in this way, it will also waste the golden beads of the dust. Why not use it directly to practice? Therefore, this is a way that only Yi Tian can do. Years go by. Yi Tian kept comprehending the power inside the lichen golden pearl, so that the energy of the lichen golden light was continuously consumed, and then he swallowed the lichen golden bead and began to cultivate the lichen golden light. When it is not destroyed, this golden bead will not dissipate, but if it is damaged a little, it will dissipate. After all, it is just a copied item. Click, the golden pearl is gone. Go ahead and make a copy. Yi Tian muttered. This method is simply wasteful, but it is enough to increase the success rate a little. In this way, the long years passed, and more than 300 years of the original era passed in a blink of an eye. At this time, after Yi Tian consumed the resources of the land of lichen, the Will Pagoda reached the 198th floor, and now he has comprehended more than a dozen extremes. Unfortunately, the resources are exhausted again. During this period of time, he copied a large number of lichen Jinju, and his understanding and perception of lichen Jinju far surpassed other ancestors. However, he still can't guarantee that he can successfully cultivate into lichen golden light. After all, he has not really tried to cultivate lichen golden light. Continuing to copy lichen Jinju is useless. I only have a success rate of close to 50% at most. Yi Tian murmured. The success rate of 50% is actually very high, and if other ancestors use the dust gold beads for the first time, the success rate is estimated to be only 1%. However, even if the success rate is very low, it only needs one dust-free gold bead, and like Juyang Jiangguang, it needs 9 kinds of treasures, including the sunset orb, which is too difficult to collect. Although the glazed holy cover only needs 1 kind of watershed, the watershed is too rare, and there is no way to sell it. Once it is discovered, it will be gone. And a treasure like lichen gold bead can still be traded on some occasions. Therefore, each sacred art has its own advantages and disadvantages. Don't wait, just start cultivating the golden light from the dust. 1. Yi Tian decided. So, he took out the real lichen golden bead and started to practice lichen golden light. I hope it can be successful. After all, I am the real golden pearl from the dust. Yi Tian muttered. Yi Tian directly swallowed the lichen golden bead, and then activated the power of 13 extremes to absorb the power of the lichen golden bead, and practiced according to the sacred art of lichen golden light, forming a lichen golden light imprint in his body. As long as the imprint is successfully engraved, it means that you have practiced. At the beginning, everything went smoothly, but at the end, Yi Tian had to practice extremely carefully. The way of deduction was working hard, and he could not guarantee whether the next step was correct. However, his luck is still good, and there are still no mistakes. Finally, the last moment came. If it is stamped, it will be successful. If the imprint fails to condense, then this dust-free gold bead will be wasted. In an instant, the last ray of light released by lichen Jinju finally turned into a mark and merged into Yi Tian's body. The imprint is done. Finally practiced. Yi Tian was extremely excited. If others know that he has successfully cultivated the golden light of lichen only by relying on a golden pearl of lichen, I am afraid they will be dumbfounded. Try the power of lichen golden light. Yi Tian came to the primordial Black Sea, and the cloned body and the will clone stood in 2 places. Immediately, he directly cast the golden light from the dust to attack his own will clone. Click. Yi Tian's will clone was directly penetrated, and the will clone couldn't use the glazed holy shroud, so it couldn't hold the golden light from the dust at all, and any defensive means was useless. However, Yi Tian's own strength is very terrifying, comparable to the 4-layer primitive ancestor, which is not weak, so even if the will clone is penetrated, he still does not die. Under 3 full attacks, this will clone fell. It's okay, if an ordinary 3-level ancestor can't kill a stronger 4-level ancestor even if he has the golden light from the dust, and his own strength is not enough, he will still be killed by others. But if he kills a weaker 4-level ancestor, Yuanzu, the golden light of lichen is enough to kill the opponent instantly. Yi Tian murmured. There is a limit to the power of holy magic, and the method grows, but the triple primitive ancestor has no limit to exert the holy magic. For example, the sacred art of lichen golden light contains 100 sacred art power, while the triple primitive ancestor may only consume 1 point of sacred art power, and cannot exert the full power of the sacred art. If you grow to the realm of the quadruple ancestor, you can explode the power of 100 holy arts at one time. In that case, at 5.9, although the holy arts can only be used once, and the power will be exhausted once, the power is very terrifying, enough to instantly kill the powerful. The quadruple ancestor. Only after reaching the top 4 original ancestors, the general holy arts are not so important, but the top holy arts are definitely still very useful. And the defensive holy arts will also be useful, increasing the ability to save lives. Yi Tian muttered, "What is top sacred art?" Juyang Jiangguang belongs to the top sacred arts, and it is of great use to any 4th level primitive ancestor. Subsequently, Yi Tian tested the effect of the collision between the lichen golden light and the colored glass sacred cover, and the result was that the lichen golden light could not penetrate the colored glass sacred cover. It seems that the glazed holy cover is still better than lichen Jingguang, and the grade is higher. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 2115 The End of the Cloud. Now, Yi Tian uses the holy art glazed glass holy hood and the golden light from the dust, 1 defense, 1 attack, the strength is skyrocketing, although these 2 holy arts cannot be used for a long time, but the effect is terrifying, enough to deal with many situations. Moreover, his own combat power surpassed that of the weaker quadruple ancestors, so his current strength was already comparable to those of the powerful quadruple ancestors. There is still a lack of resources, and we have to go to some forbidden areas to obtain resources, otherwise we will not be able to gather the resources to condense the Will Pagoda to the 365th floor. Yi Tian secretly said. Afterwards, he learned about some forbidden places through Wukong Tianmen, preferably forbidden places that even many quadruple ancestors dare not enter, and the resources are very rich. Of course, such a forbidden area is definitely not easy to find. After all, if the resources are really rich, those top 4 level ancestors might dare to enter, and the forbidden area is of little value. If the 4-layer primitive ancestor is restricted from entering, but it is very dangerous, and the 3rd-layer primitive ancestor enters a place where he is almost certain to die, then this is suitable for me. Yi Tian thought to himself. So, he went in this direction to find relevant information. Finally this day, 29, he found a similar place. Cloudless Ends. This place is a forbidden place, but it is not a forbidden place, because the periphery of the end of the cloud is a treasure land, and there is not much danger. The real dangerous place is the core area. The core area is a real forbidden area for the triple primitive ancestors, and the entrance die. The 4-level ancestors can't enter the end of the cloudless, so the outer periphery of the cloudless end is a treasure land, and the inner circle is a real forbidden place, and the 3-level ancestors dare not enter. It is said that the resources in the core area of the end of the cloud are very rich, and the top 3 ancestors entered it with countless life-saving items for a while, so they still know a little about the situation inside, but once they fall, many life-saving treasures will be lost. Therefore, no triple ancestor dared to enter. Of course, even with the glazed holy hood, it is very dangerous to enter the core area of the end of the cloud. It is not that there is no power to do it. A 5-layer holy gate specially trained a top 3-layer ancestor who has become a glazed holy hood, and entered the core area of the end of the cloud, but eventually fell. You must know that the avatar of the will cannot perform holy arts. This fall is directly the real body of the main body. Once it falls, it is really fallen, and the loss is so heavy. The fall of such a monstrous holy child-level ancestor directly made other 5-layer holy gates dare not do so. Cloudless End. I didn't expect there is such a place, it's so suitable for me. Yi Tian was going to the end of the cloud when he was about to go. Of course he didn't follow the Wukong Tianmen, otherwise those 4-layer ancestors would definitely stop him. The end of the cloud is in the Wufang region, a large region of the Shengling Yuan. Soon, Yi Tian shuttled to the 5 Peaks region, and then went to the end of the cloud. Although the periphery of the end of the cloud is a treasure land, the fighting is also very fierce. The weak triple ancestor does not dare to enter here, otherwise even if it is a clone of the will, it will be killed soon, and the loss will be too great. After Yi Tian came here, he shuttled directly to the core area of the end of the cloud. At this moment, the 3 top ancestors tried to intercept Yi Tian. Court death. Yi Tian waved his hand, and 3 rays of light directly killed them. For Yi Tian, these 3-level primordial peak powerhouses who have only comprehended more than a dozen extremes, even if they have comprehended primordial control skills, they are still ants like little people. Now, in the 3 places of Shengling Yuan, the 3 primordial ancestors were horrified, knowing that they had found a terrifying triple primordial ancestor. This is definitely the Daozi of the 4th layer of heaven, and it may even be the core disciple of the 5th layer of saints. Soon, Yi Tian came to the core area of the end of the cloud. Wow, Yi Tian entered directly into it. At this time, some nearby ancestors sensed that Yi Tian had entered the core area, and were immediately shocked. Another fool who wants to venture into the core area to find treasure. An ancestor sneered. There are many such fools, many of whom are peerless geniuses, but they are all dead. From their point of view, Yi Tian would have to die soon. As soon as he entered the core area of the end of the cloud, an invisible force came and seemed to smash Yi Tian's original body. Yi Tian tried to use his physical body to resist, but found that he couldn't hold it. You must know that he has already comprehended more than 100 kinds of extremes, and he can't bear it. It is conceivable that the other 3 ancestors can't bear it either, and they may die in an instant. You still have to rely on the glazed holy cover. Yi Tian directly opened the glazed holy hood, constantly resisting the oppression of the invisible force, and then resisted. The danger in the core area is definitely not limited to the suppression here, otherwise the Holy Sun who has practiced the glazed holy hood will not die here. Maybe, that person, like me, has also practiced offensive holy arts. What? Yi Tian thought to himself. Then Yi Tian turned on the copy talent to investigate the situation here. Resources are still a lot early. Yi Tian was overjoyed. After all, no one has picked it here for a long time, so the resources here have grown a lot, and the grades are very high, not to mention the triple primitive ancestor, and even the quadruple primitive ancestor has great value. If I get all the resources here, maybe I can gather all the resources I need in the triple primordial ancestor. Yi Tian thought to himself. He wants to condense his own will pagoda to the 3065th floor, which requires resources that other 3-level ancestors can't imagine. Therefore, he is too short of resources, and after reaching the 200th floor of the Will Pagoda, I am afraid that every level will require a huge amount of resources. Therefore, if 093 does not have enough resources, he does not know how many years it will take to raise the Pagoda of Will to the 365th floor. Receive, receive, receive. Each resource was taken away by Yi Tian. Unexpected. A black shadow crossed over in an instant, the speed was incomparably fast, almost no less than Yi Tian. Kill. Yi Tian motivated one of his top primal control skills, Blade of Void Instant. This is a top-notch primitive control technique that he created not long ago. It contains 72 extreme powers, and its power is terrifying. Puff. The blade of the virtual instant slashed in an instant, directly slashing the black shadow. Immediately, a corpse appeared. It was a strange creature. The other party was covered in black hair. It looked like a monkey, but it had no tail and only one eye. Its breath is only equivalent to the top triple primitive ancestor, but the speed seems to be unrestricted here, so it is comparable to Yi Tian's speed. Black Cloud Beast. This is the information Yi Tian has detected from the copy talent. There must be a lot of black cloud beasts here, and if the number reaches a certain level, even if the Holy Sun with the 72 extremes inscribed has sacred arts, he will be surrounded and killed. After all, if the holy art is under siege, it won't last long. Really, Yi Tian's copying talent sensed a lot of black cloud beasts, and they emerged one by one. Chapter 2116 325 Story Will Pagoda. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. So many black cloud beasts. Yi Tian was a little surprised. It can be said that a Holy Sun who has engraved 72 extreme ways, the strength he exerts here, if he does not use holy arts, it will take a long time to kill a black cloud beast. So many black cloud beasts, it's really hard for a Holy Sun of a 5-fold holy gate to kill them. But Yi Tian is different. He has comprehended more than 100 kinds of extremes, and the inscribed extremes also surpassed 108. How terrifying his strength is. His original control skills can instantly kill a black cloud beast, so as long as the glazed holy cover is not broken, he can kill all the black cloud beasts. Just when the group of black cloud beasts attacked, Yi Tian immediately used another original control technique, the Sword World of the 10 Directions, which directly enveloped this area and trapped the black cloud beasts. Puff puff puff. The dense sword light pierced through these black cloud beasts, but the light of the sword light only inflicted heavy damage on them, and did not kill them. However, they couldn't escape, so these sword lights quickly wiped out their side and killed them one by one. Soon after these black cloud beasts died, their fleshly bodies were slowly absorbed by the core area of the cloudless end, as if they had become the origin of this place, and they would slowly breed the black cloud beasts in the future. Only in this way can it be guaranteed that the black cloud beasts here will never be killed. What an amazing place! Yi Tian couldn't help sighing. However, he did not delve into the reason, he just wanted to get enough resources from here. 9 Li Haiyuanhua, Lishui Golden Grass, Dark Night Origin Stone. Shuangahua, 9-leaf centrifugal vine, piece by piece of incomparably precious treasure resources were found by Yi Tian, and they were taken away one by one. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian was besieged by black cloud beasts from time to time, but his strength was too strong, these black cloud beasts could not threaten him at all. But after a long time, his glazed holy cover is about to be unable to hold on. After all, it is always turned on to resist the suppression of the core area of the end of the cloud, and the power of the holy art is naturally consumed quickly. We have to go, otherwise it will be dangerous. It doesn't matter if the cloned body falls, but the resources that I finally collected are lost, it would be a pity. Immediately, Yi Tian escaped directly, and a large number of black cloud beasts chased and killed Yi Tian, seemingly not wanting Yi Tian to leave. However, Yi Tian broke out of the siege and came out of the cloudless end. When Yi Tian came out, he happened to be sensed by a triple primitive ancestor. A triple primitive came out of the core area. The triple ancestor was shocked. But soon, he guessed a possibility. It may be that not long after entering, I saw danger and immediately escaped, and I survived by luck. Of course, even so, you have to have a very terrifying strength to be able to do it, otherwise, the general 3-layer primitive ancestor will have to die when he enters, and he will not be able to survive for a breath. Empty sky gate. Yi Tian's copy body came back with a smile on his face. This time I have gained a lot. Although many resources are used to improve the cultivation base of the 4th-level primitive ancestors, it is of little significance to improve the will of the extreme way, but I can exchange them for treasure resources to improve the will of the extreme way. Yi Tian thought to himself. So, he traded these resources through the skyless gate. It has to be said that the resources suitable for the 4th-level ancestor are very precious, so they were quickly sold out, and he also has countless resources that can improve the will of the extreme way. Next, you can work hard to improve the will of the extreme way, comprehend more extreme ways, and when the resources are exhausted, go to the end of the cloud to collect resources. Yi Tian murmured. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to devour a lot of resources to improve his will of the extreme way. The will of the extreme way is increasing at an incredible speed, and the number of layers of his will pagoda is also increasing. Not long after, Yi Tian's will pagoda exceeded 200 floors. 210 floors. 220 floors. 230 floors. 236 floors, the resources are exhausted. Yi Tian muttered. However, the treasures used to comprehend the extremes have not been exhausted. He plans to go to the end of the cloud after all the treasures are exhausted. Another period passed. The real resources are exhausted, but I have also comprehended 128 kinds of extremes, and I have also engraved 128 black characters on the pagoda of will. 1. Yi Tian is quite satisfied with this kind of progress, his current strength is much stronger than before. This day, Yi Tian once again came to the core area of the end of the cloud. There is no difference from when he came before, but Yi Tian went a little deeper. After all, he has visited all the places on the edge of the core area, so the resources here have been taken away, so naturally he can only look for resources in the more core areas. This time, Yi Tian collected a lot of resources, but he did not go to the most core area. He felt that there was great terror there, so it was best not to go there for a short period of time, otherwise, if he fell, he would come here for nothing, and come back here when his strength improved to a certain level. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian entered the end of the cloud again and again, and the resources collected were used to improve himself. Therefore, his will pagoda gradually increased to more than 300 layers, and he mastered more and more extreme poles. And his continuous trading of a large number of precious resources naturally attracted the attention of the high-level Wukong Tianmen. Of course, the high levels of Sky Gate only thought that Yi Tian had found an incomparably precious treasure land, plus Yi Tian's future holy son, because they didn't investigate Yi Tian, and they didn't dare to ask for Tian's chance. Otherwise, if this matter is known by the Void Fang Holy Sect, a group of high-level officials will be finished. After all, the Void Fang Sacred Gate, the promise is good, has already made Yi Tian an internal decision, and only when the time is up, let Yi Tian enter the Void Fang Sacred Sect. Moreover, several sect masters of Wukong Tianmen absolutely do not allow this kind of thing to happen. Therefore, some quadruple ancestors think about it carefully, or think that nothing happened. Quote. It's too difficult to raise the pagoda of will to the 365th floor. I've spent so many resources, enough to make many quadruple ancestors go bankrupt, and I can't gather so many resources. Yi Tian said in shock. He even suspects that there is no original ancestor in the upper spirit realm with the 365th floor will pagoda. Of course, they can't condense. Cohesion. The 325th floor will pagoda, and the resources are exhausted. It seems that we must enter the depths of the most core area of the end of the cloud, especially. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 2117 Black Cloud Behemoth. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Cloudless ends, the core area. Yi Tian came here again, this time he was going to go directly into the deepest core of the end of the cloud. Even if there is really great terror there, but the big deal is that a clone body will fall, and it will have little effect on him. If he didn't go there, he wouldn't be able to get too many resources. Moreover, he is still dozens of layers away from condensing the 365 layers of the Will Pagoda, and the resources needed for these dozens of layers are probably equivalent to all the resources needed before. Soon, Yi Tian went deep into the core area, and the black cloud beasts that tried to stop him were instantly killed by him. Finally, he came to the core area. At this time, he saw an incomparably huge corpse. Open black lens bracket black cloud behemoth close black lens bracket. Yi Tian's copy talent fed back this information. And this black cloud giant beast is dead, but the aura on his body still makes Yi Tian feel fear. This breath is too terrifying, he is like an ant under this breath. The lowest is also the original ancestor of the 5 layers. Yi Tian guessed. Before the endless years of cloudless end, it might be a treasure land, but this black cloud beast fell here, turning the core area into a forbidden area. Moreover, what means did this black cloud giant beast set up before it died, so that the 4th level ancestor could not be able to do it now, and even the 5th level ancestor could not crack this method? This led to the fact that the 4th level ancestor and the 5th level ancestor were not invaded here, and the 3rd level ancestor could not go here until Yi Tian came here. Boom! Black cloud beasts emerged from the body of the black cloud giant beasts, each with a more terrifying breath than the black cloud beasts they had encountered before, and they were definitely the black cloud beasts of the quadruple ancestral level. Not good. Yi Tian fled immediately. On the way to escape, some resources were taken away. At this time, a black light came, which directly shook the glazed holy hood on Yi Tian's body. At this time, 17 black cloud beasts that were comparable to the original ancestor of the 4th layer were killed. This is the forbidden area in the core of the end of the cloud. The original ancestor's strength will be suppressed here. Even Yi Tian's own strength has been suppressed by nearly 90%, and he can't exert much strength. However, these black cloud beasts can fully exert their own strength, and can even surpass their own strength. This is their natural battlefield, which can increase their strength. Therefore, Yi Tian can only contend against a black cloud beast at the level of the quadruple primordial ancestry. Leave the dust golden light. Yi Tian performed this holy art. I saw Lycan's golden light blasting towards one of the black cloud beasts, directly cracking the body of the black cloud beast, but it did not die. Even if it is holy art, it is still suppressed here. If it was outside, the blow just now was enough to kill this black cloud beast. Not long after, Yi Tian rushed out of here and left the core area of the end of the cloud. Too dangerous. Yi Tian found that his glazed holy hood was about to dissipate, and it was obvious that the holy magic energy was exhausted in a short period of time. Fortunately, before leaving, I scraped away the resources of an area. Yi Tian smiled. After returning to Wukong Tianmen, he carefully checked the resources he had obtained, and when he saw it, he was immediately stunned. Most of the resources he had never seen before. You must know that he has browsed countless treasure illustrations and is very familiar with countless resources, but these resources are very unfamiliar, and the energy contained is very exaggerated. Subsequently, he investigated the information on these resources, and found that most of the resources were useful to those who were at the peak of the quadruple ancestors, and some were even enough to make the quadruple ancestors work hard. And some of these resources are very useful for improving the will of the extreme way. The fruit of the virtual and the real can make the powerhouse at the peak of the fourfold original ancestor raise the will of the extreme way again and break the boundaries. Seeing this, Yi Tian was very moved by how much this treasure could improve his CJFJ extreme will. Of course, refining the triple primitive ancestor is a waste, but he urgently needs to greatly improve the will of the extreme way, so as to condense the 365 layers of the will pagoda. So, just waste it. Yi Tian swallowed this empty fruit in one gulp, and then began to refine its energy. Boom! Yi Tian's extreme will is increasing at an incomparably terrifying speed. Skyrocket, skyrocket, skyrocket. Yi Tian has never had such a rapid improvement. After a long time, he has completely refined this fruit of falsehood. Then, he began to condense the pagoda of will. 326th floor. 327th floor. 328 floors. 302 floors. After a long time, Yi Tian finally condensed the will pagoda to the 350th floor. The improvement this time was great, but it still did not allow Yi Tian to condense to the 365th floor. And this soulless golden flower can also greatly enhance the will of the extreme way and refine it. Yi Tian has refined all kinds of useful resources, the will of the extreme way has been continuously improved, and the number of layers of the will pagoda is also gradually increasing layer by layer, but at the back, it is very difficult to increase each layer. It's far from enough. Are other resources traded, or are we going to continue to enter the depths of the core of the cloudless end? Yi Tian secretly said. He felt that if he traded other resources, he might not be able to get the resources he needed. Furthermore, the resources traded by oneself are of great use to even the powerhouses at the peak of the 4th level primitive ancestors. In the case of weaker strengths, it is better to keep a low profile. Then choose to continue to enter the core depths of the end of the cloud to steal resources, grab some and run away directly. Although those black cloud beasts are powerful, it is not easy to besiege me. Moreover, my extreme way the will has improved, and the strength has improved again, and there is hope to obtain more resources. Besides, after I understand more extremes, it is also possible to enter there. After Yi Tian thought so, he decided to immerse himself for a period of time, first concentrate on comprehending the extreme way and creating more powerful primordial control skills, and then go to the end of the cloudless. In the years that followed, Yi Tian practiced painstakingly with peace of mind, comprehending all kinds of extremes. Anyway, he has copied a lot of extremist ancestral inscriptions in Shengling Yuan, so no matter what kind of extremity he comprehends, it is very, very fast. The years have passed, and the 10,000-year-old era has passed. This is also Yi Tian's retreat for a very long time, and the effect of this retreat is naturally very good. 213 extreme poles. Yi Tian not only comprehended so many extremes, but also engraved all 213 black words on the will pagoda. It's almost time, you can go to the end of the cloud to continue stealing resources. Yi Tian muttered. Chapter 2118 The Limit of the Will Pagoda. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Cloudless ends, the core area. Yi Tian entered here again, and his strength has improved a lot. Although he still can't compete with so many 4-layer primitive black cloud beasts, he can easily steal resources and then escape. These black cloud beasts couldn't kill him at all. Bring out another batch of resources, just take it slow, it should be able to raise the will of the extreme way to the level enough to condense the 365 layers of the will pagoda. Yi Tian secretly said. In the years that followed, Yi Tian stole resources from the end of the cloud again and again, and continuously improved the extreme way will. Finally, after a long time, Yi Tian completely condensed the 365 layers of will, the pagoda. It can't be condensed anymore. Yi Tian was enlightened. This is a feeling, even if he engraves all 365 extremes on the pagoda of will, he can no longer let the pagoda of will break the boundaries and condense another layer of pagoda of will. The 365-story will pagoda is the limit. Sure enough, this is the real limit. There is no way to build a pagoda of will with hundreds of layers. It is meaningless to comprehend more extremes. After all, extremes do not have a strict quantitative limit, and there is no need to understand too many extremes. The extreme way, the 365 extreme ways, is already the real limit, even I can only comprehend so many extreme ways. Yi Tian muttered. Although he has comprehended thousands of extreme ways, the other extreme ways are only perfect. Of course, the most important and core pole is the endless pole, and his endless pole is about to reach the extreme pole. I have a feeling that when I comprehend the 364 extremes, the endless extremes will be complete, and then the endless extremes will be engraved on the last layer of the will tower as the last extreme. Yi Tian decided. Time flies, and another period of time has passed. On this day, Yi Tian created a primordial control technique that involved 108 extremes, Taichu Fist. The power of this fist is second only to the holy technique like in Jingguang. That is to say, when Yi Tian breaks through to become the 4th level ancestor, the power of this punch may be equivalent to the golden light from the dust. If he created the original control technique involving 365 extreme extremes, it would definitely far exceed ordinary holy techniques. This moment, Yi Tian found out that the sacred arts seemed to be nothing special, maybe only the top sacred arts were useful to him, the general sacred arts were of little significance to him. However, the third-level ancestors like me in the upper spirit realm are the only ones. The other triple-level ancestors and fourth-level ancestors still yearn for a sacred art. The powerhouses at the peak of the fourth-level original ancestor also yearn for the top sacred arts. Yi Tian secretly said, "This day, is there no need to guard Sunset Mountain?" Yi Tian suddenly received this information. But soon, he knew why. In the continuous battle, Wukong Tianmen and the primordial black beasts in the Nine Dust domain continued to fight, resulting in the death of a large number of triple primordial will clones in Wukong Tianmen, and many triple primordial ancestors were reluctant to go to Sunset Mountain. In the end, Wukong Tianmen decided to hand over the Sunset Mountain to the Void Fang Holy Gate for management, which was equivalent to giving up the share of the Sunset Orb, which was also a great loss for Wukong Tianmen. After all, although Wukong Tianmen is a subsidiary of Void Fang Holy Gate, it is only a subsidiary in name, and it is no different from normal forces, and it also needs to compete for resources by itself. Sunset Mountain is also one of the most important industries of Wukong Tianmen, and more than one of the four ancestors needs the Sunset Orb, and uses the Sunset Orb to exchange for other orbs used to cultivate Juyang Jiangguang. They don't want to give up either, but now they really can't hold on. Afterwards, Sunset Mountain was accepted by the Void Fang Sacred Gate, and it had nothing to do with the Wukong Tianmen. Nine Dust Domain. Damn, Wukong Tianmen actually gave Sunset Mountain to Void Fang Holy Gate. Juchen Yuanzu was extremely angry. According to his plan, once Wukong Tianmen can no longer hold on, he will completely occupy the Sunset Mountain, and then slowly transform the Sunset Mountain, and then let the Dawn Sacred Ancestor send the triple primitive ancestor who is good at the magic array into the Sunset Mountain, and arrange a seat. The magic circle can make Wukong Tianmen unable to retake Sunset Mountain. But now, it can't be done. The ancestor of the Ghost Gate is here. The original ancestor of Juchen, give up the plan to attack the Sunset Mountain, and I will inform you when there is a task in the future," said the original ancestor of the Ghost Gate. So give up. Juchen Yuanzu was shocked. He thought that the Ghost Door Yuanzu would make things difficult for him. Of course give up. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate sneered, "Do you think you can really occupy the Sunset Mountain? Even if you do, how many years will it take to get a Sunset Orb? As for other resources, they are not qualified to let the Dawn Patriarch care. Do you think the Dawn Patriarch will really give you orders time and time again for a mere little Sunset Orb?" Katakana middle. Ask for flowers. Juchen Yuanzu's face changed. Ghost Gate Yuanzu, you mean that the goal of the ancestor of the Morning Sun has never been Sunset Mountain? Of course not. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate sneered. The Sunset Mountain is just those values, which are very precious to the 4th level Tianmen, but have no value to the 5th level ancestor. The purpose of the ancestor of the Morning Sun is to let you get involved. The 3-layered ancestors who lived in Wukong Tianmen let a large number of the 3-layered ancestors enter the Sunset Mountain battlefield. In this way, there must be not many people guarding the 3-layered ancestors in another place. Not long ago, the Morning Sun ancestors succeeded, dispatched a group of triple primitive ancestors and directly seized an item. Therefore, your mission is over. I see. 0. The ancestor of Juchen nodded. Then, the original ancestor of the Ghost Gate left. At this time, Juchen Yuanzu's angry breath permeated the entire palace. Damn, Dawn Patriarch, you actually used me and concealed your real plan. 1. The original ancestor of Juchen feels that he has no status at all, and he is also a half-step 5-level ancestor. 9 Lights Holy Gate, the ancestor of the Ghost Gate is back. He stood in front of a young man, bowed humbly. How could he still have the domineering face of the original ancestor of Juchen? Sir, Juchen has been instructed not to continue attacking Sunset Mountain, said the original ancestor of Gimen. Well, very good, Chen Shi Yuanzu said slightly. Now that Sunset Mountain has been taken over by the Void Fang Sacred Gate, if the attack continues, the Void Fang Sacred Sect may really find the 9 Dust territory, then I will be exposed. Master Chengxi, if we use Juchen like this, he must be dissatisfied, and maybe he will scold us in his heart. Do you really want to keep him? He is the original Black Beast, and he will not deal with us practitioners. If he breaks through to 5, what should I do with the original ancestor? The original ancestor of the Ghost Sect asked worriedly. Juchen, just he wants to become the original ancestor of the 5th layer. It is not that simple to become the original ancestor of the fifth layer. The inheritance I gave him is incomplete, and he has already taken the wrong path. Moreover, a half-step original ancestor like him, it's not as good as the powerful late-stage quadruple ancestors in the holy sect, it's not worth mentioning. Chen Shi Yuanzhu said. My subordinate understands. The original ancestor of the Ghost Gate replied. At the same time, a group of quadruple ancestors of Wukong Tianmen were extremely angry. Chapter 2119 Enter the Holy Door of Void Teeth. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The 7 Stars River was looted. The sect master of Wukong Tianmen said angrily. Qixinghe was looted. Many quadruple ancestors were shocked. Qixinghe is not an ordinary place. It is a special treasure land in the upper spirit realm. Although only the 3 ancestors are allowed to enter, Wukong Tianmen has been operating for countless years. Moreover, a large number of triple primitive ancestors were dispatched to guard, plus many magic circles. It should be very safe, but it was looted. How so? A fourfold ancestor asked. The original ancestor of Kuai said. Recently, the Sunset Mountain and the original Black Beast have been fighting fiercely, and many triple ancestors have fallen, so most of the original ancestors have been transferred from the 7-Star River, and even the guards have been dispatched. After all, 7 Xinghe has never happened in Shangling Yuan, and we can still support in time, so we don't care about 110. But I didn't expect this time. A group of triple primitive ancestors quickly rushed into Qixinghe and slaughtered in an instant. Hundreds of the 3 ancestors stationed in the 7-Star River looted the treasure house there, and the thing was taken away. That thing, what is it? Many quadruple ancestors are puzzled. At this time, the original ancestor of Qingxi said, it is a black light group, which was found in the 7-Star River, but the 3 original ancestors could not take that group of light, and we did not find out the information about this group of light. Of course, I didn't report it to the holy sect of Void Fang, but I thought about investigating it myself. After the investigation is clear, I will decide how to deal with this group of rays of light. Didn't report the false Fang Holy Door. The other ancestors are not stupid, and they naturally know the reason. It is clearly the original ancestor of Qingxi and the original ancestor of the Bitter Sea. They want to swallow this unknown opportunity. If they report it to the holy sect of Void Fang, it is really a supreme opportunity. Big loss. Therefore, they did not report it, and did not disclose it to the other 4-level ancestors, fearing that those 3-level ancestors would be prohibited from leaking the news. As a result, they were ransacked before they could figure out what that ray of light was. And it is certain that the other party knows what the Black Light Group is and has a way to take it away, so that the Black Light Group can be taken away instantly. The purpose of those original ancestors should be the Black Light Group, but they must have people behind the scenes, find out which force did it. Another 4-fold original ancestor asked. Qingxi Yuanzhu shook his head. The people behind the scenes should not have used the power of the forces, and the ancestors who were mobilized were also secretly cultivated ancestors, who have never been exposed in the Shangling Yuan, and after they sacked the 7 Stars River, he left the upper spirit realm directly, and then escaped into the primordial Black Sea, where there was no way to track it. I'm afraid they have planned for many years, and I suspect that Sunset Mountain is a cover. Ku Haiyuan said. Sunset Mountain is a pretense. When the other ancestors thought about it, they immediately understood that using Sunset Mountain as the battlefield, the 3 ancestors of Wukong Tianmen were involved one by one, causing the Qixinghe defensive power to drop dramatically. Moreover, the people behind the scenes did not have enough strength to cultivate in secret, and there was no way to instantly solve the 3-layered ancestors who had guarded the scale before. They could only transfer one by one. And there is no identity exposed in the middle. Even if the 5 ancestors of the 5 sacred gates come here, they are almost nothing. The primordial black beast that we fought against is not weak, and there are quite a few quaternary ancestral primordial black beasts. The strength of the person behind the scenes is probably not the quaternary primordial. A quaternary ancestral guest. 5 ancestors, Qingxi Yuanzhu said. The thought of the Black Light Group even wanted by the original ancestor of the 5th layer, planning for so long, and not wanting others to discover it, shows its preciousness. Such a pity. One by one the original ancestors secretly said. Immediately, everyone talked about another matter. Let's not talk about this. The holy sect of the Void Fang will recruit members in advance. We have a total of 18 places this time, which 18 triple ancestors will pass. Qingxi Yuanzhu asked. The original ancestor of Kuai suggested. Seek the wishes of those 3-level ancestors. If there is a Daozi who is willing to stay at the Wukong Tianmen, we have no objection. However, the endless ancestors and the Void Fang Shungman have indicated that they want them, and we must send them. Past. The infinite ancestor, the evildoer who has already comprehended the 72 extremes. Qing Si Yuan Dao. Yes. Kuai Yuanzu nodded. It's really a monster. He has already understood the 72 extremes before entering the Void Fang Sacred Gate. Isn't he hopeful to practice the inscription technique of the Void Fang Sacred Gate, Haoyang inscription technique, which involves 108 kinds of extremes? Once they are all inscribed successfully, the Haoyang holy body can be condensed, which is the top ancestor body in the history of Shengeling Yuan. The endless primitive ancestor should have practiced a systematic inscription technique. Can he still practice Haoyang inscription technique? Naturally yes, there is no Taoist gold liquid in the Void Fang Holy Gate. It can remove the limit pole in the Pagoda of Will, and re-engraving it just takes time and re-practices the Haoyang inscription technique. With the talent of the endless original ancestor, it won't take long. 72 extreme poles can be re-engraved. 1. Yeah, only the holy sect of the Void Fang has such confidence, we don't have it. As it is arranged like this, except Etn, the other 3-level ancestors have to ask. Soon, the meeting disbanded. Yi Tian received a notification from Wukong Tianmen not long ago that he would go to the Void Fang Sacred Sect after 30 days of the original domain and officially join the Void Fang Sacred Sect. The holy sect of the Void Fang has recruited disciples ahead of time. I thought I really had to wait until the era of millions of Yuan. Yi Tian secretly said. It's good for him to join the Void Fang sect so soon, otherwise, he will definitely become the ancestor of the 4th layer when the Void Fang sect recruits members next time. In the blink of an eye, 30 original days passed. This day, the original ancestor of Kuai sent 18 triple ancestors to the Holy Gate of Void Fang. Before long, the Holy Gate of Void Fang has arrived. The Void Fang Sacred Gate is located in the top domain, Void Fang Ancient Realm. When Yi Tian came to the gate of the Void Fang Sacred Sect, he realized that the comparison between the Void Fang Heaven Sect and the Void Fang Sacred Sect was not enough to see at all. From the gate of the Virtual Teeth, one by one the 4 ancestors shuttled away at all times, and there were still a lot of them. In front of the gate of the Void Fang, there are also 2 gatekeepers of the original ancestor. 5.9 From the point of view of the original ancestor of the 4 layers, only the 5 layers of holy gates have such a heritage. I saw bitterness. The original ancestor came to the Virtual Tooth Holy Gate and respectfully said, "Brother, this is better than the 18 3-level original ancestors sent." Quote. The original ancestor of Kuai is polite. You were also a disciple of our Void Fang Holy Sect at the beginning, and the entry was earlier than us, so just call our junior brother. One of the 4-level ancestors said. The 2 senior brothers are disciples of the 5th-level Holy Sect. I am now the original ancestor of the 4th-level Heavenly Sect. Naturally, I should be called that. The original ancestor of the Sea of Bitterness said quickly. He didn't dare to scream, otherwise it would be bad if he encountered the 4-layered ancestor with a quirky temper and deliberately troubled him. The 2 gatekeepers did not continue to say anything. After checking, they let Yi Tian and others go in. And the original ancestor of the Sea of Bitterness returned directly to the Wukong Tianmen. Chapter 2120 108 Veins, the main vein of the sun. After entering the Void Fang Holy Gate, it is considered entry. The disciples of the Holy Sect of the Void Fang are divided into ordinary disciples, elite disciples, core disciples, true disciples, and holy children. At the same time, there are 108 meridians in the Holy Gate of Void Fang. Each meridian has elders and deacons, and the masters of each meridian are the original ancestors of the 5 layers. To serve as a deacon, one must possess the realm of the peak of the 4-fold primitive ancestor. As for the 4th-level original ancestor, if there is no special treatment, it may still be just a core disciple, a true disciple or a holy son. Of course, some sons are no less than elders. Basically, just starting disciples like them can only start as ordinary disciples or elite disciples, and only the geniuses of evildoers can ascend to the sky and become core disciples or true disciples in one step. As for becoming a son, nothing like this has ever happened. After Yi Tian entered the Void Fang Sacred Gate, he was soon called to the Void Fang Hall by a 4th-level ancestor. You are the original ancestor of the Endless. One by one, the eyes of the half-step 5-layer primitive ancestors turned to Yi Tian. They were all elders from the many veins of the Virtual Tooth Gate. Have you comprehended the 72 extremes? This time, the one who spoke was an elder from the main line of the Void Fang Hall, the original ancestor of the 5th layer, the original ancestor of Feng Ming. Feng Ming's original ancestor is a female ancestor, but his strength is very terrifying, and he is also the only 5-layer ancestor among so many elders. Originally, to recruit a disciple, she did not need to appear, but Yi Tian was qualified. Hello, elders, this disciple has indeed comprehended the 72 extreme extremes. Having said that, Yi Tian showed 72 extreme extremes. This time, these elders are really moved. Knowing and seeing are completely different feelings. At this time, Elder Feng Ming said again, have you inscribed the 72 extreme extremes? Yes, Yi Tian nodded again. However, he did not summon his own will pagoda, otherwise he would not be able to hide the secret of owning 365 layers of the will pagoda. Do you know the number of holy sect holy sons? Feng Ming said. Yi Tian shook his head and said, this disciple is not clear. 1. The original ancestor Feng Ming said. There are a total of 108 lines of the holy sect of the Void Fang, and each line has a place for a holy child. Whether it is the 3rd level original ancestor or the 4th level original ancestor, it can only be counted as 1. Quota. Unless the holy son is promoted to the half-step 5th level ancestor and becomes an elder, this quota will be vacant. At present, only 32 of the 108 meridians are vacant, and the main meridian there are 10 holy sun places, but the 10 holy sun places are full. At present, you have 2 choices. The first choice is to directly choose one of the 32 meridians, as long as you pass the first place in the Holy Child Tower layer, even if it is the Son of God. The second option is that you choose another line, but you need to defeat the son of the other line and replace it. Lord Elder, which lineage has the best treatment? Yi Tian asked. Main vein, the original ancestor of Feng Ming said. The main vein is the most powerful and has the most 5-level ancestors, while the other veins almost only have 1 or 2 5-level ancestors. Yi Tian thought about it for a while. What he needs most is a backer, and the backer of the main vein is strong enough, but the background of the other veins is not good. It is meaningless to become the holy son of other veins. So, Yi Tian said directly, I want to join the main line and challenge a triple primordial son of the main line. It is good, the original ancestor of Feng Ming agreed. At this time, the elders of the other veins were a little displeased, especially those elders of those veins who did not have the Holy Sun, and even snorted coldly, feeling that Yi Tian was beyond his capacity. The main line is indeed very good, but has become the triple original ancestor of the main line of the Sun. Can the combat power be weak? A guy who just came up from the 4th heaven gate, still wants to become the Holy Son of the main line. The 10 holy sons of the main line, 6 of them are the original ancestors of the 4th layer, and only 4 are the original ancestors of the 3rd layer. This is the information of the 4 of them, you choose one of them. Feng Ming's original ancestor waved his hand, and 4 documents appeared. Soon, Yi Tian locked one of the 3 original ancestors. The original ancestor of Bingyu, the peak cultivation base of the triple original ancestor, comprehends the 72 extreme extremes, has the body of the original ancestor of the prison. The will pagoda is suspected to be 108 layers, and is engraved with the 72 extreme extremes. Above, the details are unknown. 1. Yi Tian chose him because his name was in the last place, perhaps intentionally or unintentionally, but it also showed that the strength of this holy son should be the weakest in the main line. Okay, you need to challenge Bingyu Yuanzu after a UNU day. If the challenge fails, you will not be eligible to choose which line to become the Holy Son. If you have other lines, you can become the Holy Son. You can only become a true disciple first, this is the rule. Feng Ming's ancestor reminded. The disciple understands. Yi Tian replied. Then, he left here, just waiting for the challenge to begin. The holy door of the Void Fang, the main vein. Bingyu Yuanzu was extremely angry that he was challenged by a guy who was just getting started. Looking for a dead guy. Although he is the weakest son of the main line, he is also more powerful than many sons of other lines. Moreover, he has now comprehended 75 extreme extremes. Although there is no hope of comprehending 108 extreme extremes, each additional extreme extreme has a little more potential in the future. Therefore, he has not been promoted to the 4th layer original ancestor, otherwise, with his background, he would have already attacked the 4th layer original ancestor realm. Isn't the original ancestor of the endless, after a day of the original domain, I will beat you fiercely. Bingyu Yuanzu said coldly. Soon, the news of the original ancestor who challenged the main line, the original ancestor of Bingyu, spread, and many holy children and true disciples were ready to come and see the excitement. In the blink of an eye, an original domain daytime passed. Main vein. I got here with Hirohabara. At this time, the original ancestor of Feng Ming waved his hand, and a ball turned into a world. This world was extremely solid and infinitely broad. You enter this world to fight. This bead is a primitive 110 holy soldier, you can't break it. The original ancestor of Feng Ming said. Yi Tian and Bingyu Yuanzu nodded and entered the world inside the bead. The battle is imminent. Endless ancestor, I heard that you came up from Wukong Tianmen, you should choose a line to become a holy child, you shouldn't come to snatch my position, I will beat you at the fastest speed, and let other lines know you. It's too spicy, so I don't want you, and then you won't even have any hope of becoming a holy child. Said Bingyu Yuanzu. It's over, let's get started. Yi Tian said coldly. Holy art, light of ice glass. Bingyu Yuanzu directly sacrificed this holy technique. The onlookers were shocked one by one. The original ancestor of Bingyu actually practiced this holy art. It's normal, after all, it's the holy sun, and the treatment is different. It's not difficult to get the conditions for the light of ice glass. It's a pity, this endless primordial ancestor is afraid that it can't stop the holy art, the power of the holy art is too terrifying. Many ancestors thought that Yi Tian couldn't stop it, but in fact, even if he didn't use holy arts, he could easily block such weak ordinary holy arts with his own strength. But he is still not so high profile, then use the holy art to resist the holy art. The glazed holy cover appeared on Yi Tian's body, which directly resisted the light of ice glass. Next moment, Yi Tian directly used the top primal control technique Blade of Void Instant.